One out before the show.
Is everybody in?
Lube it
Is
up.
everybody in?
That's the
And
wrong
they like
show.
swimwear, dude.
Oh, welcome to the Late Sesh. What's going on, everybody?
It's a bro show live.
It is. Oh, it's the Bro
It's
Show.
not a
Welcome
bro
to the Bro Show.
Happy hump day.
That's
What the
Wednesday
hell is
now.
going on?
We got a new flavor today.
Oh, I
It's the
see
new
you. The Bloom Butterfly.
Bloom butterfly.
elderflower, jasmine,
Elder.
and violet. This
Holy
is the
shit, he got it to focus.
Damn, the spring
Spring
edition.
edition.
I know he's flexing on us with the camera.
Excellent job on the focus, dude.
Yeah, man.
I'm still on my tolerance break, so I'm drinking a Bell's
Ah.
Rind.
Rind over matter.
So it's a wheat ale with lemon and orange zest. Wow, I got mine to focus too, so I better pull
nice.
that up. Rind over matter.
Ooh.
Pretty good if you like wheat beers.
Oh, gotta go that way. There we go.
Oh, Scobo. Let's see if Scobo can focus. The
Nice
challenge on.
focus.
Scobo's got the worst looking camera. So
I do
this
have the
is
worst looking
happening.
camera. so. Hey, you know it's not that bad. We can't all be baked.
Water,
I
guys.
can try
Don't
to
you have
be-
the
It's all
same
about the lighting.
camera?
dude. It's about the lighting.
Didn't
all
we
about-
get
Yeah.
everybody the same camera?
pretty
I'm
much.
pretty sure just about everyone has the same.
Yeah, so yeah.
It's lighting, dude.
Yeah, it's lighting. It's because I have these overheads.
It's good
my
to see
lights
you
are really
baked.
in the background.
Yes.
I'm glad you
Glad
stayed
to
awake
be
for us. You must have taken a nap when you got home from work today. I
I
appreciate
took
it.
a 15-minute power nap.
I say he had to
Before-
stay. I was over his house right shortly after he got home.
I don't
Was he
know if I
wiping sleep out of his eyes and
after
shit?
you.
Oh, you
No, I
did?
think
lady
it was
goes
after
disco
you.
naps.
After you left, I took a little quick nap.
I see.
But yeah, no, I popped RSO right after you left, and about an hour ago, I re-upped on that for the bloodstream.
Oh shit!
There you
Okay.
go.
Double down.
I'm expecting to sleep good.
I expect you to sleep good too.
Yeah. Shout out to Spartan. Brought me over a bunch of
Nice.
Oh, you got the good ones, yeah.
Damn,
tubes.
you hooked up.
Yeah, these are one of these. We don't know which one is from the rosin pucks.
Yeah, one of those is from the rosin.
Oh, nice.
Man, those
Yeah.
must smell great when you bust those out.
They
I
usually
wanted to
do.
mention off the top, Painted Lady's not here, guys. She called in hooky today, so she's gonna get some rest and sleep instead of doing the show today for once.
For once, she's been here every
A
other
big
time.
meeting tomorrow, so yeah, she's had a lot of days, and she's like, "I'm really tired," and I'm like, "You don't have to do it." And she's like,
No.
"I'll do it." But this one, I
Do
tried to convince her to take the day off, so she did. She's not sick or anything. She's probably watching. She's still online on Instagram, but
You're doing that
hopefully
Instagram
she-
stock thing like
I
active
see the green
18
light.
minutes ago. Sure. Yeah.
It's
there
right
you
here.
go.
It says active now.
Oh, I don't even have that activated on my Instagram. I don't want stalkers fucking seeing what I'm online. I don't care if I see people are online or not. I'll just text them if they text me.
Is that something you could turn off?
Yeah,
Yeah, you can turn it off.
I have turned it
Oh,
I
I didn't
refreshed my
know that.
Instagram, and
So
she's
if you
not.
turn it off, you can't see when other people are online
Yeah,
either.
you
but I
can't
don't
see
care.
when other people are online,
I don't
which
care
is
when other
fine by
people
me.
are online.
No
I
big
just don't
deal.
stalk
That's
me.
good.
Might have to do that.
Yes, K
Mhm.
goods are
Give
so
props to that.
pucks.
I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
you can definitely make RSO from spent pucks, and also Fergrolius blasted BHO from spent pucks and made
Oh, that'd be cool.
unsolventless is what he called it. It was a really cool product.
Could you imagine? He uses a big tube.
He
You
said
would
the
need a
yield was
ton.
really good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. I mean, it's practically all trikes and stuff in there.
Mhm.
So
I can't remember who gave him the pucks the first time. It was, I don't want to name a company because there's a lot of them that do it, but yeah, he had some pucks from somewhere, and he
there's
made
probably
unsolvent-
hash pucks, right? Instead of
Yeah,
like
they
like
were.
we use what I gave Spartan was flour pucks.
Right,
So,
right.
But yeah, hash. That's even cleaner.
Yeah, his were from some big hash makers. So I
The
bet
hash
he'll-
puck dump.
Yeah.
Dump. Well, yeah, because a lot of guys aren't trying to blow those bags out, so there's always a little bit of goodness left in the bottom of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. A lot
I
more
know-
than you think, really. If you look at the test results between rosin and BHO, it's like a 25% difference in THC.
Is it really?
And
Which
really
one being
good.
more?
BHO is like usually around like 76, 77%. If you look at rosin, a lot of times it'll be like 55, 56%,
True.
or maybe a little bit higher. So,
Yeah.
that
Oh,
difference is all in those bags. So when you blast that with a solvent, it's going to get it out of there.
Yeah.
A lot of those guys will make sorry, banning
Oh,
someone real quick. A lot of those
yeah,
guys
that
that
was
make
quick.
like MCT oil capsules and other stuff. I know that Yeti has done those. I actually have them right here.
Yeah, those
These are,
nightcaps, right? Yeah.
these are capsules that Yeti made using his bags, spent bags, and then put like MCT oil or coconut oil or something like that with them, and extracted the goodies out of there. The
Yeah, I
same
think he
idea
just
as the
uses
article.
MCT oil to do those.
I believe so too.
Yep.
Ended up running into quite the error this weekend. I don't know if we can talk about it now or we can talk about it later, but hydroponic type shit. DIY.
Oh,
Why
no,
did
you
you
didn't have a
get in? Let's
catastrophic
hear it.
failure, did you?
Just flood a room again?
No. Aside from the usual, leave your water running, don't set a float valve.
Aside from the usual.
Miss put the buttons on your timer, and that fucker runs all night. And you flood your floors that way, or just don't set your timers at all, and they don't get fed, and your crop dies, or any of that kind of stuff that can happen with your hydro systems. If you're doing a DIY hydro system, there's a good chance you don't have $1,000 external pump. A lot of people just use simple submersible pumps. That's what I use. I use a submersible pump on a timer, and that pumps out into my drip lines, into my manifold. And it's worked fine for many, many years.
That's cool. Sorry.
When I went,
I forgot that you had mentioned that, Red, in our chats, so I'm excited to hear you talk about this on the show.
oh my God, dude. So simple submersible pump that I've been using for many, many years. I decided to not really cut some costs, more like just try to upgrade my submersible, right? I've been using like aquarium submersibles, stuff for fish tanks, or like hydro farm, relatively same output. They're like 1,000 gallon per hour output. At most like a good submersible, you get like maybe 1,500 or something like that. Well, if you get the sump pumps, if you get a good old fashioned sump pump, Lowe's has them for like maybe $150, maybe $80, 90. You can get like a third horsepower. You can get a sixth horsepower, which is 6 horsepower is like 1,500 gallons per hour. It's perfect. It's awesome. It'll pump 25 feet.
The one I use,
vertical.
Red, right here.
You got that guy. That's
This
a
one
nice
pumps
one.
water
That's
from
what
my
you use.
basement to my
Mondi.
upstairs for a grow. So if you guys
Mondi.
need one that has like a lot of what's called head height,
Yep.
this one works really good for head height.
You want to look for something like if you're going up and over, you want at least 25 feet of vertical, because what'll happen is it'll cap out. If you go to 30 feet, you're not gonna get any pressure at all. You know what I mean? So
Those are the res mixers at Mechanical. Those pumps.
You guys use my yeah, they're big.
So here's the
like,
thing though. You want to pay a lot of attention to those pumps, man. You don't just want to use a sump pump. And here's why. Because if you open up a sump pump brand new out of the box and you tip it and do this, you hear liquid inside floating around. Okay. Not being like kind of a novice in the pump department, more or less concerned about the gallons per hour, thinking, oh, this is a submersible pump, whatever. You kind of want something that is designed for aquariums, that is designed for ponds, or something that is a pond pump, not just that is a submersible pump, not just a sump pump, right? Not just a simple submersible pump right,
like a utility pump.
Right. Yeah. Something that's designed for 24-hour running, something like that. Because here's what happened is that this thing is watertight, it's water sealed, but you know what is inside those things making it watertight and water sealed are seals. Well, this pump has been sitting in my reservoir for 5 years, guys. Almost 5 years, right? Since like 2017, right? It's been in operation since about 2017. I've been noticing some murkiness and maybe even some like what I just thought was I honestly just thought it was my jacks mixed up. It was like a little bit of like rainbow coloration in the water, almost like an oil slick. And I'm like, all right, okay, not really thinking much of it. It's just the jacks, not mixing or something like that. So a little while I started getting this film on the top. What the fuck is this film? So I clean out my res, it was like it looked like a microbe film. Like it looked like I had
White
like
Right.
yeah, it was like on a foamy on top, and I was like, all right, this isn't normal. It was almost smelling like Vaseline in there a little bit. So I opened up my res, and it's kind of giving me like this Vaseline smell, and I'm like, almost thinking that maybe it's the reservoir leaching, something like that. Mind you, I'm not exactly using a food grade reservoir, right? I'm using a garbage can. You know, that's the other DIY part of hydroponics. You know, a lot
The
of
good
us.
news, Red, is the oil that's in that pump probably is food grade.
I'm
It's
thinking like a
probably
vegetable.
like
It didn't smell like
lithium
motor
something like
oil.
that.
It
Exactly.
smelled more like a glycerin or something like that. Something that was probably non-toxic.
Yep, for sure.
Something
Have you
like
ever had to prime
plants
one?
are fine. The plants are fine. So anyway, long story short, I get down to the bottom of the reservoir, and I'm cleaning out this, vacuuming out the top of the reservoir. I had to waste about 40 gallons of Newt water. But I get down to the bottom, and I lift up on the pump, and it just dumps oil, dude. It just dumps like what looked like maybe vegetable oil. It was yellow. So it wasn't hydraulic oil. Hydraulic fluid's usually red. Brake fluid, stuff like that's red.
I wonder if it was like white lithium grease.
It
Grown
wasn't
man
like dot
holler says
three.
mineral oil.
Someone's
When
saying
I-
mineral oil. Yeah, I'm
That
hoping
would
it's just
be
a simple mineral oil. That's what it smelled like. It smelled more
I
like
bought a pump
for
and they
sure.
told you to prime it and they told you to get vegetable oil and that's what
vegetable
I used.
oil.
Yeah, so I'm guessing it's something similar to that.
Something similar. Yeah. So either way, obviously the plants are fine. We are talking dynamic bioaccumulator, biodynamic accumulators, or whatever we're talking about. But either way, it's not my soil that I keep. It's soil that it gets tossed anyways in between each round. They're still in veg and not in flower. Yeah, hopefully I have enough time to let some microbes take care of whatever mineral oil's in there. Not going to worry about it, right? I cleaned out the reservoir. It took most of the day to get this reservoir cleaned out, man. It was all greasy, slimy. You got to use, the dish soap and get the grease off, and then cleaned it up and had to rinse it a few times.
Plants.
Yeah. Unfortunately, this didn't happen mid-flower. So, dude, I just went and I bought like 4 of these. I bought 3 pumps because Harbor Freight, you get coupons, you get those specials, maximum of 4. So that's what I was using with those Harbor Freight pumps, submersible sump pumps. So they do have pond pumps, they do have aquarium pumps. Those are more like impeller driven, right? Those are a little bit different. I want to say those oil-based pumps, those are like gear driven pumps. Which is
You
probably
can
why
be
they're using
sure
oil.
that your aquarium pump is going to have food grade stuff in it as well. Because
Usually those don't have anything in them.
If you
Usually
guys are
right,
those are just electronic battery
Yeah.
magnet.
they're magnet, they're mag driven.
They're magnet driven.
If you're gonna get a pump or an aquarium one, I used to have reef tanks, and one of the number one brands for that is actually one for ponds. Everyone used for their reef tanks called Danner Mag, and that's the brand. You just get whatever size you need, but they'll run for years.
Sure.
No issues, and they've
Sure.
never been like sold out or anything weird.
And what's nice is
But-
there's not a lot of mechanically moving parts on those. It's electronic. It's an electric
Yep.
motor. It's a simple electric motor. It's a magnet driven motor.
Yeah, something like
unless the
that.
wirings go bad.
That's
That's what you
exactly
want.
it.
Yep.
And that you're gonna spend, I don't know what, see, that's $92 for 900
'cause
or
it's a mag
700
drive,
gallons
yeah.
per hour, but that you're gonna get 700 GPH, and it's gonna last a long time.
Yeah, 700 GPH is solid, man. If you're running a small hydroponic, a 4x4, something like that, dude. I'm trying to power like basically a 6x12, right? Like 18
Yeah.
plants, so I can get away.
notably,
Well, they have bigger ones,
notably
Red.
it says it's good for saltwater, Red, which is important for what we do. We
Right.
got salts in our water,
Yep.
which
Right.
can be
Yep.
a contributing factor to these seals wearing out and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Yeah, you're totally right.
All the actual
Yeah,
sub
Red,
crock.
you might want to invest in a DAP pump.
I think that was a 3/4.
It's a DAP. It's what we have at work, but they're like,
They're expensive as fuck, but they're
they start at like $800. So yeah, but like they're serious. Like they
They're
have
not-
Wi-Fi and stuff.
they're not
Yeah.
sub pump either.
I do that.
Yeah, they're
except-
they're not submersible. I guess
Yeah. Yeah, those ones that are
Like in
exterior, and I mean they're expensive. And the issue with that is I'm not just pumping out of one reservoir into my space.
Oh,
like
yeah.
each row of plants has its own reservoir designed for that. I literally have like 6 or 7 reservoirs in my grow space.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Wow, that's a new one. I haven't seen that one, but Oh, they
Keep
got
an eye on that.
They don't
submersible
even look
ones.
like pumps, man.
Looks like they got
That doesn't look-
submersibles.
They look like little robots. They're cool.
Yeah,
But I mean, dude, you figure
Those are
1600
pretty
GPH, a 6 horsepower, $60.
It's
You
a
know what I
little robot
mean?
and it goes
It
and
hooks
it
up to
waters
a-
all your plants for you.
It's got a 3/4 inch hose line, drains down to a quarter of
Wally.
an inch. I mean, they're great, man. The only problem is they have a shelf life. So,
Yeah.
and they'll dump mineral oil in your reservoir if you're not expected. So, I'm gonna replace them all, man. I don't want to run into this situation, crop filled with flowers.
So you have a pump for each res?
I think
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
were
yeah.
running
Two
Oh,
reses
that's
each.
why you
you
needed
should
so many.
Two
Okay.
reses in each
have
bloom room.
a backup pump on the shelf waiting for it to fail.
Well,
That's
that's
what
why
I
I was
bought.
asking
That's
him, but
exactly
he
what I
needs,
went and
he
bought.
needs 6 backup pumps.
I went and bought my backups. I was buying some back. I needed one for my veg. I'm setting up a new veg space. So I needed one for my veg. I had a garbage can and everything. And it just so happened that Harbor Freight had a sale on sump pumps. It's springtime. So they got sump pumps and generators on sale like crazy. So get yourself generators and sump pumps right now if you can get your coupons going.
So there's
And-
another
Hey,
company we
what
haven't
is
mentioned
that?
yet. Liter pumps are really good. These are used commercially as
Yep.
well.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
I wanted
Out
to
of
mention
stock
this
though.
brand. But yeah, look at that. 118 head height.
$360, man. That's
Yeah.
just such a tight thing. For to only try to power like 12 plants, you know what I mean?
Oh,
So
for
you're better
sure,
off
yeah.
using 60.
That
60
head
You
height.
can't.
Valve,
You couldn't,
big
Red.
valve.
You couldn't like plumb up a manifold system with some valves.
I bet he could.
I could, but then I'd run my res dry in 3 days rather than
Oh
8.
yeah, that's true. Yeah. You
So I
need
have
a
so many
bigger
reservoirs,
res.
man. So I
Yep.
can, and I'm not doing like 1,000 gallons at a time. That way, it's having secondary safe valves. If one of my res's pH fluctuates too much, at least the other one's still good. If half my room dies, at least I got the other half to still survive. It's
Yeah.
redundancies, redundant systems, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Doing the greenhouse, what I did was, assuming Red that you're close to closing that, the greenhouse, what I did, I had a
Yeah.
55-gallon drum for each quadrant in the greenhouse. So I separated it into 4 quarters.
It's a good idea.
And I put a pump in there, my normal pump in there. It's like, a 3rd horsepower sump pump, right? And hooking up all the stuff how I normally would hook it up, I was like, all right, I got tons of gallons per hour. I didn't have nearly enough pressure for what I needed. So I did a bunch more research and found better pumps and found pumps that would work for the application. So I guess the point of that is research what you're trying to do. Gallons per hour doesn't necessarily mean anything about pressure or head height. Do research on what you have to have for your application and make sure that it'll actually push water all the way through all of your hoses. Because that was sort of a problem that we had ran into.
Yeah, especially if you're going vertical. If you're going down, then you're going up 6 or 10 feet, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But Vic,
Or
I guess
really
to answer your
long.
question, I could just get a larger reservoir or something like that. But again, like I wanted 2 reses. That way, I was trying to do a.
Uh-oh.
They got him.
I can do them both. What happened? You get me?
Oh, you're
You
back. You're
froze.
back.
Thanks
You
for
froze
letting
for a
me
minute.
Me? I froze. Okay, so
You got swooped.
2 reses, so I can do perpetual and flush if I need to on one. Get one
Yep.
started on the other if I needed to. Stuff like. Now I'm running it all monocrop style. Not really monocrop, but like I'm running full room as I go. But it's still nice to have 2 reservoirs because when I actually will veg in my bloom room for like 2 weeks. I get fill up the reservoir. That fucker won't even drain out, dude. It's like drops an inch in a week. You know what I mean? It's like nothing. So I don't need any until I start flowering. Then I really start using up all the newts in there. But
Red, what size trash can / res are you using?
use those 96-gallon toters. Those big suckers on the wheels. They're like recycle containers.
The ones that aren't going to basically collapse out from the weight
Yeah,
of
yeah,
extra
yeah,
water.
yeah.
Yeah.
Brutes
good
are a good
point, dude.
brand.
Well, you know what I used is I'm not in that position. I had that 4x8 bed. So I was using the plastic insert like you would use for like a sump pump hole. So it held 20
yeah.
gallons of water,
Yeah.
which was perfect for what I needed. And I knew that, I just had my submersible pump dropped into there. And then I plumbed it to the Netafims. But
I've used
Dude, I've seen a lot
27-gallon
of people have
totes.
reses just break,
just,
Yes.
there's a little
40
warning.
gallons of
Sometimes
water
it'll
at
start to
once.
show a little
Garbage can,
discoloration,
dude.
and it
Yeah,
just
for sure.
boom, it just gives out, man. And
I've
then-
used
Dang.
27-gallon
every
totes
time it's
before.
full, then you beware of what's going to
Spark-
happen. It's not ready for that.
Spartan, was it you that told me you had one of those collapsible reses?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you said it worked well though. I
Fabric
saw
ones.
those and I was like, no fucking way. I've seen them like 300 gallons and stuff, and I'm like,
Yeah,
there's
they get
no
big.
way I feel comfortable.
Got
But
one
he
bigger than
says
that.
they work pretty well.
Yeah,
And
it's
they're,
got
Able
they're
to get it into your room.
yeah,
That's a real
side
nice
supports.
thing.
It's not just fabric. It has sides that like pull
Yeah.
hard pull side supports. But yeah, I still have it.
That's
I'm
pretty
not using
cool.
it right
Yeah,
I like the
they're pretty
idea of it.
reasonable price. If there wasn't shortages on everything, I got my drum. It's like one of those big blue food grade drums. I got that for like $60 before all this shortages
Dude,
crap. Now
right
they're like 180.
right before the pandemic, man, Home Depot had like the green and black, like food grade big motherfucker. They had them anywhere from like 40-gallon nice ones, like where like a nice big 3-4 inch like hole on top with a cap, receiving cap, and like the drain plug on the bottom and the whole nine, dude. Real nice ones for like a couple $100, dude. You could get a 250-gallon for like $200.
Talking about like a cone bottom?
No, just cylinder. You could get cone bottoms. They had them through Home Depot and stuff also, but now they're like
I was about to say
triple the
cone
price,
bottoms are like
triple the cost.
unicorns now.
It's crazy.
What
I was
about
on
those
the
ones that
J.R.
they sell
Peters
at Tractor
website.
Supply that have like the metal that goes around them, Spartan? You know, they see them for farms and shit, and they
That's-
hold massive amounts of
I
I
water.
think
what
that's
they
cone
call-
bottom you're
Those are
talking
cone
about.
bottoms.
No, a
Yeah.
cone bottom is
those are
circular.
square.
Oh, he's talking about the square ones.
Yeah, the square one. The cone bottom would be like this.
Oh, you're
piece.
talking about the
I know you're talking about.
You're talking
Yeah,
about
those
IBC
cubes.
Those are
Yeah.
IBC
Yeah.
totes.
Yeah,
IBC totes.
I
Yeah,
see
you
a
get
lot of
those
people
fuckers
use
for-
those.
But
Careful
cone
about those
bottom is
too.
the best for
Yeah.
res. If you can get a cone bottom, it's the best for res.
Yeah, I think that's just about
Stays
being
clean.
adamant about looking out for stock and good deals, or
I
like
wanna-
somebody
I wanna
selling
get
a
a good-
used one.
That's it.
Now that,
Thank you.
but now
Don't
those
pay
are
that.
priced really
Don't
good.
pay
though.
that for one of those, man. You get them for $50 to $100 probably.
A lot of
Yeah,
times
but
Where you
is
find them
that
for
is that
that?
filled with
Yeah.
pickle juice?
Yeah, sometimes pickle juice, sometimes it's food grade, usually like vegetable oil, shit like that. You got to clean them out a little bit, but
I've got
I
a
mean,
couple barrels in my garage baked if you need more.
I'm searching for olive. I
really?
want an olive barrel, the big ones that got the big round top on them. They hold, dude, they're like 50, 60 gallons. They're like that deep red or black.
I've
got
never
the
seen an
Pickle
olive
Factory
barrel.
by me that has the blue. They've had vinegar in them, so they're the blue.
The
food
blue
grade
the
ones.
blue
Yeah.
drums are sick
Vinegar's
though, because
perfect.
they're not gonna bust from liquid.
No.
So yeah, but it's just like I don't know. I'll probably end up taking you up on that sequence. Start with just drums and then try to source some
Mhm.
cone bottoms. I only need 2 cone bottoms, so for what I'm planning. But I like those because they drain out completely, so you could flush something and then use newts and
Here's
then.
another good option, baked.
Jesus Christ.
Whoa, that's $4
Wow.
grand, bro.
Block stainless
Lord.
steel.
That's like
Jesus. Yeah, I'd like
I
to
was
get
on
a
this
couple
site
200
that sells his
gallons.
IBCs, and I was like, holy shit, $4 grand.
It's crazy, dude.
But yeah, I think the ones that I have had like pickles or something food grade in them, so you just clean them out with soap and you're good to go.
Yeah, don't
Yeah.
use the ones that you use for like a burning barrel and shit that had brake fluid or
Right.
something. In them.
Yeah.
Don't do those.
Actually, a lot of those come with the liners now. You can pull the liners out. But Manny D in chat, he has a good idea. He said there's a dude in Flint that delivers 60-gallon pickle barrels for $30 to $20 anywhere in Lower
Those
Michigan.
are the ones I'm talking about. Those pickle barrels.
Yep.
I buy them for $5.
Kalamata olives and pickles and all that. They're pickle. Anything you can pickle for pickles. Giant pickles. Imagine the apparatus that
Collapsible one that I have is
pickles
from
those things, that
I don't
boils
think
that shit.
It's an Autopod.
The downside of mine is they're white, so you almost have to like paint the outside of them or something to keep light from getting into them, which can be a problem.
Keep
Yeah,
it in the
but
dark.
lights also, like what you're talking about, sequence is also nice because we have them at work. You can see your water level.
Yeah, you can see the
Yeah.
water level, yeah.
But
As long as
like,
you,
and
like,
that's the
keep
thing.
it enough.
Nobody's out there making like. We also have a giant res for the RO, and it's opaque, and it's like all y'all had to do was make one slit clear, and we can see
I
the
got one
water
for you.
level from the
Sight glass.
outside.
You know those pool noodles or pool foams or just pieces of foam. You get stuff a little styrofoam block about yay big, right? And so here's a styrofoam block, and you put it in your reservoir, and then you get a piece of PVC or a stick or something that goes up out of your reservoir, and it sticks out the top of your reservoir as your water level goes down. Thus, so does the piece of PVC. And then as you can watch it,
What the hell?
I don't know.
This is
what's
the
going
top of
on.
my reservoir. Watch, guys. This is the top of my reservoir. This is like the cap, right? This is the
Yeah.
floating foam inside the
Oh, I
reservoir.
see. And it's
This
full.
is stick, and this is
Yeah,
full. And now, as I'm utilizing the reservoir, the stick's lowering and lowering. And you can visually see how much smaller the stick goes. So you could like have a
Yeah.
camera
So
on
you
your
don't
room.
have a covered res.
Yeah,
then,
let's say
is
you
what
got a
you're saying.
camera on your room, and you're just like watching your room, and you're watching your res, and you just see the stick. 2 days
Yeah.
later, you're like, oh, I need to go and fill up my reservoir, and whoop, the stick goes back up.
Yeah, you
What I've
don't
more
want to do that.
commonly seen is like plumbing like a hose or a tube in the bottom
Yeah,
of the res, and then
they
have
used
it
to
run
have
up
the
side,
hydro farm kit.
Sight line, yeah.
and then you have a
Sequence,
sight
yeah.
glass,
Yeah.
you know.
Yep.
The old General Hydroponics, the hydro farm kit that they had used to come with a little union valve. You would drill a 9/16 hole in a 5-gallon bucket. You'd snap that union in. And then it came with a little elbow, a 90-degree elbow, and you put the blue sight tube on the top and rock and roll.
That's I was
How you
thinking about
drain
doing
them,
the thing that Red was explaining. I was thinking about doing that for my sip containers and just dropping it in the tube. And then I
Yeah.
have to look down them, but I don't want to do styrofoam in my water. I don't want to have wood that
Yeah.
fucking molds. So
Yeah, but remember,
it really
Spartan, you
limits me to,
told me
like,
about that.
plastic.
I found really long plastic ones on
Yeah.
on
You
on
can
a
definitely do
website I
plastic.
shall not mention.
I
But
know. That's,
Yeah, what
it
about like
does
a ping
much.
pong ball? or
but if
something?
they just showed up in your hands, you might be able to utilize them.
Yeah, there you go, Robert.
But I was
Here,
thinking
she
about
says
getting the
ping
same
pong ball
things for
too.
my sips, so maybe I will
Yeah.
try them out. Cause yeah, that's the only thing is you look down a black tube, and you can't see anything.
I use a flashlight. But I see
Oh
it.
yeah, I
I
guess
mean,
I
you could
could
just
do
use your
that.
phone, Baked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like to do things the hard way.
You just like to do things in a very 1974 manner.
Use my
I get
eyeballs. But
it. Use my eyeballs. My
But
peepers.
yeah, that would be easier for sure. You could even put lines on it at different levels.
yeah,
It'd be nice because if, let's say, your sip container's in the back of your tent, you can't just like shimmy back to like look down that little hole. You know, you got a little something.
That's a
sticking
super
out.
design flaw
Well,
if you put it
I
in
was
the tent
about
that
to
way.
say, Joe. I said you already
dude,
fucked
you
up
fucked
because
up,
you
man.
put your hole somewhere that's hard to get.
Yeah,
Work
like,
smart,
hole-
not hard. Or wait,
hole placement is important.
yeah. There it
This
is.
is the
Sequence.
easiest way, you know, and then your water level is going to level wherever it is. If your water's here, it'll be here. If your water's here, it'll be here.
Yes,
and you'll
sir.
know
Yeah.
outside of the tank.
We should have
This
done that
can
when the
leak.
res
This
was
is
empty.
the only downside is this can leak.
Yeah, that's what I don't like about it.
You
There,
know,
mean,
but, like,
Well, any
it's made
plumbing
not
can
to
leak
leak.
though.
Shit, if it's fucking cold enough water, it's going to condense on the outside.
I was gonna
anyway.
say, yeah.
So,
fail points.
yeah, have a
We
floor
literally get puddles on the floor because in
There's
the
a floor
winter,
drain right
it's,
there
yeah,
too. It's a good spot.
There's a floor drain right there too.
just from the condensation on the res, the main
I didn't
one.
think about that.
Yeah, I
Because
was worried for a long time. I was like, I think there's a flipping leak underneath the bottom, and they're like, nah, it's condensation, and I kept
Speaking of,
watching that.
speaking
But
of my
it's-
reservoir room, my reservoir, I really want to upgrade my reservoir room. Really do. My reservoir room is my utility room is currently a storage room for if anyone needs any 5-ton air conditioning.
Those air
brand
conditioners
spanking
hanging
new.
in there.
Yeah, I mean, well, okay, brand spanking new to the year like 2017, 2018.
They've
never been
Still
hooked
in
up.
boxes.
Yeah, but if I
Never
go
been
mini
hooked up.
split,
Mini split LG LMU 5400 is the model number.
Stick that in your dry room. Baby.
how many heads?
Ooh, I like
10 total, 2 outdoor units total, 10 heads total.
10 heads?
Yeah, he's got
Holy
5
shit.
heads per unit. Babe.
5 heads
Wow.
per
Jesus
unit.
Christ.
Each 12,000 BTUs. Yes, they are heat pumps. Again,
might-
they're
I
the
might-
matching
yeah,
models
we'll
for
see.
the. Hit me up.
I got
I'm a
to
fan.
talk to
Fucking
HVAC
tall.
and see what's best for
4 feet
my
tall.
setup.
They're not small. They require a slab.
What's the cold rating? What's the cold
I also
rating?
have stands for them.
Yeah, what's the cold rating? All right, so hit view
Bad
more.
boys. Yeah, I give you everything for like.
everything.
We'll
Here
talk.
we go. Here we go. Ambient outside temperature is what we're looking for. Operation range 14 to 118, heating 0 to 64.
So it
Yeah,
only goes
man,
to 0.
You can get
Yeah,
you can
but
get-
a lot don't go farther than that.
Yeah, that's most. You can get You can get a what's it called? Put on it.
A heat pump or whatever. Yeah, a heat tape thing.
Low temp kit or whatever.
Yeah,
I got those on my
yeah.
air conditioners. They run all winter long. Air
Mr.
conditioners
Manny D's
run
looking
into
for
like
some units.
negative
Manny,
30.
hit up Red on his DM. Hit up Red on his DM.
Instagram
water
DM.
lines.
Instagram DM. You got to be in Michigan, man. It's got to be a pickup. I'm not
Or
sure.
you got to drive.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
got
The
to
mini
watch the
split.
I'll meet
dog.
10
somebody.
heads.
I'll meet somebody in a U-Haul somewhere, but preferably like the Jackson area. Jackson.
That's it,
Ann Arbor.
people. 10 heads is almost like
Just-
10 rooms.
Before too many more people get in chat wanting prices, Red's not going to discuss prices on.
No.
Not
Yeah,
on here.
yeah.
No, not on here. We're talking DMs or something. We can talk on that or something. The idea was to have, I have 2 bloom rooms and a veg, right? And so the idea was to
Same.
have for off of each outdoor unit, right? 2 heads in each room plus 1 in the veg.
Oh,
Okay, so
redundant as
5.
fuck. Yeah.
Redundancy, right. So if one of my air conditioners failed, I still had 2 heads
both
off of each one
rooms.
in both rooms. Right.
And
Why
you
am I
have
not
more than
using these
enough.
guys? Okay, why did I not choose to go with this awesome badass redundancy? One of the issues was the slab. Okay, I didn't have a place that I could just easily mount these outdoor units. The other reason that I did not go with these was the install guy, who's a buddy of mine, who's somebody that I trust. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not the type of person that's just going to bring, and maybe you already know how to install this stuff, or you have a guy that's cool. I don't really have a guy who works with mini splits per se, specifically LGs. So he gave me a really good deal on hooking up some forced air units. My rooms are sized to where forced air just so happens to be a little bit of a better option than mini splits. So I went that route. Mini splits are an excellent option if you can keep them clean and you can keep the maintenance up on them, and that whole thing. And I mean, honestly, if you can get the line sets pre-charged, a lot of times you can install them yourself. I don't recommend that because you want to make sure that they're pressured up properly and shit like that. And,
Right.
get that shit brazed, man. Don't just, crank it down with the wrench. Get it all sealed up.
That's what you need the guy for, is because he's
Exactly.
the only guy that can get the refrigerant for the damn thing.
Yep.
So
A good price.
Well,
too.
that's, yeah. And plus, you got to wire those suckers up and they're not low amps.
No, they're not. Yeah.
So,
but they are awesome. They're like the bee's knees. if
They're
you're doing a
cool.
home level commercial grow or a home level large scale grow.
Yeah,
Well,
definitely.
so Red, do you have an outdoor unit basically for each room then?
Yeah,
For forced
yeah.
air? So, okay. So that's cool.
5 ton on each room. Yeah.
And then they do heat too, huh?
No, these
Oh.
don't. The forced air don't. No, my heaters are those little 1500 watt, 110 volt
Radiant heat.
Okay.
radiant oil heaters.
And that's enough?
So that's the
that's
benefit
enough.
of the mini split.
That's
then, would be you
insulation.
get heat.
That's insulation. Okay.
That's insulation. That's R15 on the 2x4 studs, which is about max out in that. And then like R30 in the ceiling. It's a completely unheated shop, but my rooms are built in. It's
30,
like
that's pretty
you
nice.
know,
Red's
I walk out of
building
my
is
grow
built a
room.
really cool way. Like it's
Yeah.
rooms within a building. So he's insulated and then insulated, and then there's air, which is also an insulator.
The building, the shop itself is not insulated. The office space up front is, but the shop itself is not where the grow rooms are. I did insulate the shit out of the grow rooms, including like I used IR barrier, the whole 9, like for the sunlight. Like
His
make
grow
sure
room's got a tinfoil hat on it, guys.
tinfoil hat. got the
Who's
whole 9,
surprised
man.
out there?
Yeah.
No beaming that one up.
But honestly, dude, I still have to do the roof. The roof was one of those like budget costs. I didn't do this.
Yes.
Not the roof, like, but the ceiling, the caps. I haven't done that with IR. I've only done the walls, which is good for like the side sunlight because there's an east facing wall and a west facing wall. So I get morning and I get most of the evening, dude. It's like from 4 o'clock till 10 o'clock at night in the summertime. It's all just sunshine on a tin metal building, which is just, dude, once I put up the infrared barrier, I'd go like this behind the infrared and this next to the tin, easily a 20 to 30 degree difference, easily.
Now, did you, so on the exterior, I'm guessing you did insulation, then this thermal?
No, I did
barrier?
the thermal. I did the thermal first, and then the insulation.
then
because
insulation,
yeah,
okay.
and then I did the vapor
Cool.
barrier. Vapor barrier with like very minimal seams.
Yeah.
Make sure you don't really smell anything. All sealed rooms, and I put infrared barrier behind my electrical panel. keep that electrical panel just even an extra 30 to 20 to 30 degrees cooler, you know, could be the
Yeah.
difference between sparking up or not, you know.
Red, you're gonna have to invite Baked out to your spot one
Oh,
time.
totally.
He can
Yeah,
see
yeah,
what
for sure.
he's doing a thing too, and I
Yep.
think it would help give him some
Yep, yep.
ideas. Not that
Yeah.
he needs them, but you know, you guys are all solving the same problems, so it's an
Yep.
interesting thing.
Yeah, I've watched his
Oil heaters,
video
man.
on YouTube. If you guys out there want to watch, he's got it's like a time lapse of you building it, Red.
Yeah, yeah, it's a photo time
That's
lapse. It's
pretty
probably like
cool.
10 or 15 minutes long of just a
Yeah.
photo lapse of what the shop looked like before I put the rooms in. And then, you know, it would stick. Daddy Red helped me, you know, do a little bit of stuff other than just he and I working on some of the construction, man. That was a solo project. I
yeah.
invited an electrician in to come, a professional electrician to come in and wire it up for me, and a professional HVAC person to come in and do that job. Everything else was I hung all the equipment and did everything. Like I said, Daddy Red, you know, he's grandfather's old carpenter, you know. Daddy Red definitely has a lot of his old skill set. Unfortunately, I never got a chance to meet the old man. But aside from that, you know, I know that it runs in the family and just kind of, you know, I've been the laborer on plenty of projects in my life. So I took it on as kind of like one of those what would you call it, man? Like one of those dream projects, you know?
You call it like a passion project, yeah.
Passion
That's what it is.
project, something, yeah, it was something,
Yeah.
you know, like that solo drive to that what can one man do, you know, type of a thing. And I went out there, you know, I
Look at Red tell a
to
story
work.
and hit a joint and pass it to Beck at the same time.
had to work, you know,
Professional.
do the thing. I was still growing a 3 light here at the house, and you know, I'm a caregiver, man. I was taking care of patients daily. If I had plans to go out there and work and a patient was like, I need 3 ounces at 4 o'clock, I'd sit around until 4 o'clock, and then they wouldn't get here, pick up until 6, 7, 8 o'clock, because that's how this game runs, you know, and I wouldn't get a chance to go out there. You know what I mean? So it took me a few years to build it. The laws changed, the market saturated a little bit further. The price per pound dropped enormously. Here we are today, rocking everything, man. And I'm just, you know, gotta keep rolling. Gotta keep rolling with the punches. Even though the township opted me out, like it's just, you know, like this, bad and the other, back to being a criminal, this, that, and the other. You know, it's gotta keep rolling with the punches. You know, so
Allegedly
doing this for the patients, man. That's it. Doing this definitely for the patients.
definitely isn't for the lulls.
100 years from now, they'll laugh at that.
Well, you know, according to the state of Michigan, I'm legal, so anybody else can just fuck off.
I love According saying to
Oh,
you,
yeah.
being it's fucking legal. Fuck what they say. How about that?
Yeah.
According to me being able to use cannabis oil over ibuprofen after getting a root canal, they can fuck off.
That was what I got a medical card because I have a really bad knee, and I was like Googling WebMD, how much ibuprofen can you take in a day? It's like 3,200 milligrams.
Yeah, it's not
That's
shit.
what I was taking, and that
Not shit.
wasn't working.
No,
So I started smoking,
enough.
and I was like, that works way better.
fuck yeah, it does.
Yeah. So I definitely agree with you there, Red.
Dude, I dove into a sandbar and I was smoking canatonic for the weekend. I mean, when I dove into the sandbar, it was like a half a fifth of Hendrix gin down, you know. But aside from that, when I got home and was continuing to smoke the canatonic, I didn't really feel much until like a few weeks later. You know what I mean? Like I kind of like went through the shock process and everything else. Like the canatonic was helping, man. Like I was going through the next, you know, like the 2-3 days after a really good workout, or like the worst. It's not the next day. It's like 2-3 days later, you know. That's when it really fucking hit me. But I was canatonic, man. I didn't feel anything. It wasn't until I ran out of that weed that I started feeling it, man. It really fucking caught up to me, you know. Cannabis is a really, really good painkiller. It can be.
The ultimate. It's anti-inflammatory.
It's the anti-inflammatory, yeah.
That's what's the best for me. Like it just cured my shit right away.
So there I was this afternoon, standing there talking to a couple of septuagenarians. There's your fancy word for the day.
What does that mean?
80-year-olds?
No, that would be an
80?
octogenarian, a septuagenarian.
70.
Yeah, 70.
Your peers?
they're my neighbors, right? So
Oh,
they
okay.
were outside, and
You
you
guys
know,
were
they were
all at
like,
Jenny's 5
You
in the
guys are
morning.
playing
no, they
rummy.
were like, my neighbor was like,
Croquet.
hey, Skilbo, my brother's over here, man, and I was telling him about that rollerball shit that you got, bro. So you know, I went over there real quick, and this dude was like, man, I was in yeah, there it is. So I was really in a bad motorcycle accident in 2014, and then again in 2016, and my knees are all fucked up. So I came back over to the house real quick. I had a rollerball. There it is, fine. And I
That
tossed it
shit
to him.
works, dude.
And I told him, I was like,
it
you
does.
know, let's try this, and I'll hang out for 5 minutes, and you know, we'll talk about it. Because he was like, hey, you know, you were telling me last year that me and Marsha, that's his wife, me and Marsha are allowed to grow 12 plants of our own, right? Because he's got like this really kick-ass garden out back, and it's done really, really well. Nice rows and sunflowers and shit. And so, cheers, Shay. I ended up selling him one, and I was telling him, I said, man, I said, my most popular customers are seniors. He said, who are you calling a senior? I said, oh shit, now I done fucking pissed off a 70-year-old. But you know,
Gotta watch
Shit,
it.
it's
man.
just,
If they
it's
don't know
all
by
about
now.
that's right, man. It's all about inflammation, and that's what I was telling him, man. I was
Yeah,
like,
dude.
pain signal, your body has pain and inflammation to get you to slow the fuck down and to like kind of think about what you've been doing. And to get those receptors to chill out, we got to get that inflammation to go down. Now you can sit there and eat Motrin until the cows come home, but you're gonna fuck up the enzyme levels in your liver, right? And it's really gonna do a
Look at
cropper on your
ulcers
stomach.
and all sorts of
Stomach.
shit.
Sure, man.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
you know,
I've been taking the antibiotics
Right
too.
over there. You
There's
getting
a
attacked?
giant bug flying
it's a
around.
moth.
Oh, I
Left
missed
the
it.
window open, the one
Mushrooms
window
kicked
with
in.
no fucking screen
The
on it.
dragons.
The one day it's nice, and there's already bugs.
There's already
Yeah,
mosquitoes baked.
They're
How
smaller
you
than your
know
screens
that
baked.
it's-
They will get in.
Well, I don't even have a screen. It's just.
Well, that was
You can't be Florida and up here, man.
Well,
Oh,
I'm not
yeah,
normally
dude.
worried about
Everybody's
bugs, but this
Florida,
one's
dude.
a fucking chunker, and it's flying around. It's gonna hit me in the head, and I'm gonna
It's a
flip.
stink bug.
Frosty
It's a stink bug.
sees him.
No, I've
Stink
already
bug,
gotten all
dude.
the stink bugs out of here.
I got one in here floating around.
Frosty's
Somewhere.
just looking at me like I'm
It's got the
crazy.
bed on it.
He's like,
It's
why are
not
you
a
making so
stink
much
bug.
noise,
Frosty's
bro?
hilarious.
Stink bug
Yeah.
walking around. I saw him too. He's huge. This little.
I had stink bugs like
There's
the
a red one. That's
last
cool.
little heat wave we got.
Yeah,
I got a
seen-
bunch then, but I haven't gotten any this round.
Patrick says you're up too late, baked.
Yeah, I started. Yeah, you start. this is
Someone's
what happens,
cranky, huh?
people.
Someone needs a nappy.
It's
You start
freaking out.
hallucinating after 11.
Lucas is a sexagenarian. That means she had lots of
Sexagenarian.
sex.
Many pains.
Yeah,
Test the
you-
rollerbar's efficacy. I love it.
The efficacy. Yeah, man.
Fetus
It
is
does
right.
work. It works for all sorts of stuff too, like a lot more than you would think.
Oh,
I
hell
use
yeah.
it for my
Headache.
hand. Like some days I'll come home and my hand will
Headaches.
just feel like shit. So I'll grab this
Oh.
sucker and just hit like my knuckles and all that, and literally 5 minutes I won't notice it.
It's man. That's the key, is to just, you know, as you're getting older, you got to get those pains under control.
Yeah.
Dr. Leave Me Alone brings up such a good point about CBD. No one has it on the shelves. So
Right there.
not too long ago. I don't know if you're in Michigan, Dr. Leave Me Alone, but this is definitely something in Michigan, right? So if you go into like any of our regulated shops, it's rare to see CBD. You'll find tinctures, that might be a little bit older.
You can find one in there.
You can't
Order that shit.
you can't import. So a lot of the companies used to be able to just import CBD isolate and do that whole thing and get it into their metric system. Now, because the MRA turned to the CRA and they are in regulation of hemp and all that other stuff, you now have to have state licensed hemp CBD going into any of the processors that are putting that stuff into their gummies or edibles or tinctures or any of that stuff. So the amount of state licensed hemp is just minimal, right? There's not as much of that, but those that are trying to get in, a lot of the hemp growers have their own thing going too. Like they got their own, like doing what Dankovich is doing, right? I know like Rising Moon up north, like he's got an awesome little regenerative Dem Pure hemp farm, and I don't know what he's doing with his, but I know he's got his own like little website and stuff, and I'm sure he's doing
Yeah,
just
you
fine.
can retail CBD legally anywhere in the country.
yeah.
From Dankovich, from Rising Moon, I
Yeah.
think you just said. Any of these companies, that is something that you can pick up. You can Google CBD flower and get it overpriced from lots of places as well.
And you won't
you can-
probably find it in the shops because of that reason, though.
Right. Yeah, exactly. There's no profit margin for a shop to have when
Exactly.
you can buy CBD for
No.
$40.
They're required to charge the
Pound or
tax on top of it.
Yeah, and they're required to source through a, licensed hemp farmer now. Where
That gets metric tested.
yeah, and before it used to just be shit, man. Buy 10 kilos through Colorado, or buy 10 kilos from Kentucky, or wherever you can get it from.
For metric, it's even more rich. Wonderful.
Yep, exactly. I just downed my second syringe of CBD RSO that Spartan made from Dankovich's flower in like a week. So it's good. I haven't taken any RSO. That was the only RSO I've taken today. I haven't even taken any high THC RSO today. Didn't take any RSO at all yesterday. I was loading down, man. I went through like 7 through like 4 or 5 syringes of THC in about a week. Maybe about 10 days.
What's
Working.
did you feel any differences when you were just eating the CBD, or were you also eating THC at the same time?
I was eating at the same time, but I do feel like it was more effective. It was definitely more effective.
That sounds right.
I got
It could be placebo, but it sounds right to me.
And thankfully, I had it like the day of my root canal and the day after, because those were by far the worst 2 days. This was the day of my. Actually, honestly, my root canal wasn't nearly as bad as my prep. And I went in for my prep last week.
Dude.
The prep was the worst. Yeah, they ground my shit away. Yeah, they ground out my
that
gum.
sounds like shit, dude.
It was terrible. My gum was growing into my tooth, so they had to take like a bunch of gum away, and it was just very uncomfortable for a week. So it was like,
Did they stick it underneath the school desk?
yeah, that's exactly what. Well, that's where the new one came from.
Okay.
It is nice though that you have the ability for RSO and stuff, especially for dental work, because a lot of times you can't smoke. I
Yes.
knew that you were able
Yeah.
to smoke, but a lot of times you can't smoke.
Right.
And RSO is a solution to
Right.
get to where you're trying to go.
Big
when
time.
You can't do that.
I'm
Yeah,
real fortunate.
buddy.
Yeah,
You're feeling better.
They told me I could eat, and I'm like, well, if I can eat and put coffee, they didn't give me any restrictions, so I'm like, I can smoke my weed. I'm not a cigarette smoker. I don't have a lot of. Honestly, man, here's something interesting. Also, when I was a cigarette smoker, my dentist knew it, and I wouldn't smoke before I went into the appointment or anything, but they knew I was a cigarette smoker. Not a word about smoking habits or anything like that from my dentist at any of these appointments about my cannabis consumption. I haven't smoked cigarettes in now, I think maybe 5 or 6 years, but my dentist knew when I was a cigarette smoker, and they don't really have anything to say about me being a cannabis
I
smoker.
thought they were going to ask for the hookup.
No, well, I was.
You must not have like dry gums or whatever the symptoms are.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing is that the endodontist, I made sure that I let him know how the cannabis oil was working. He was like, okay, well, if that's working with conjunction of the ibuprofen, good. I'm like, no, complete. I don't need the ibuprofen. I haven't taken ibuprofen in like a week. And honestly, when I got home from my root canal, I took 2 just because the cannabis oil, the doses I was taking wasn't enough. If I would have took a higher, like doubled my dose, it probably would have been enough, but I wasn't trying.
Bro, the dose you were taking of RSO would like put down most normal people.
Oh God, dude. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
told your dentist you
yeah.
did like a gram of RSO a day.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have any way to like rationalize that number, but like
No.
you tell that to our chat and they're like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Half gram average. Yeah. Half gram average. I mean, you're talking in the range of 300 milligrams THC. Plus
So
other
at that
cannabinoids.
point, if you're doing a half gram, it's like it'd be like the amount of toothpaste that you use each time.
Yeah,
It's like
Yeah.
dabbing a gram
Yeah.
a day.
it's like filling up half a capsule.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which
But that's-
knocks most people out. You know what I mean?
But it's not once. It's every 2-3 hours. I'm taking like a tenth every 2-3. I'm taking a little bit every 2-3 hours. This thing I'm dosing all day long. And just because like once RSO is, it's going to take 30 minutes, 45 minutes to kick in first off. But so you need to like catch up on your dose. But then it's only going to last, once you have a tolerance, the first few times it's going to last 4 to 6 hours, but then it's only going to last 2 to 3 hours once you're
Red, have you ever had it kick in like faster than normal? Because I've had that every
Sometimes.
once in a while where it's like, holy shit, this is
diet, depending on diet.
Yeah.
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 What if I
For me, it's like an
smoked?
hour. You take RSO, and then like an hour later, you're like, I'm fucked up.
Sometimes it's
takes a
shorter
lot
than that.
longer.
I
Usually
was
takes
gonna say, Skill, but if I don't eat anything, I can feel it in like 30 minutes. I'll be
Yes.
like, uh-oh,
Okay, there it is.
I ate a lot.
If
Uh-oh
I
is
have
right.
RSO, if I have RSO and then smoke, then it's like way intensified.
I almost feel like that.
Sure.
I don't smoke. It's like I don't even smoke.
And
I feel like if
lasts
I'm on
a long
RSO, I
time.
just
It's
there's no
really
points
easy
for
to
me.
get a high hangover from RSO. Like you can wake up stoned pretty easy because
I
it
love that
lasts
part. I love
a
that
good
part.
duration.
That part is the best because your
Memories.
morning you'll wake up and you're so fucked up that like by like 11 or noon you're like, holy crap, it's lunch and I'm now coming out of my fog, but it's lunchtime, so it's perfect.
Or if you like wake up in the middle of the night to pee or something, and you're just like, "Whoa,
Whoa.
man."
Dude,
Right.
I
Hold it on
never
our walls
remember
and
that
shit.
till the next day, and I'll be like, "Oh yeah, I did. I did the
Did
wobbly
take a whole
pee."
capsule.
Yeah.
Took a big old dose right before
Now,
bed to sleep.
if you take too much, you just won't even get up.
You just wake up really
Yeah,
sore
you'll wake
because you
up ready.
haven't.
You'll wake up
You
8
won't
hours
move
later.
all night. You'll
Yeah.
be in the
No,
same position.
It's waking up like a big old bowl of Jello. You just
Right.
I don't have any
Very
My-
access to
disorienting.
my arms or my legs.
My best is like, or I love it when I'm still messed up from RSO in the morning to the point where I wake up and I'm like, I'm taking the morning pee or something. I'm like, why am I so fucked up? Did I go out last night? Did I drink something? And then it'll snap like I'll be like, no, it's the
Did
RSO.
somebody roofie my drink?
You go back to
I
sleep.
roofied
man.
myself,
I roofing myself. Yeah.
and it's
I
a good
love
thing.
I love caffeine and weed, or caffeine and like are so high. It's like that's my
Speedballs?
favorite.
Yeah,
I wake
buddy.
up, if I wake up and I'm high like that, my first go to is a Monster. And it's just,
Yeah.
I love that.
That gets you
gotta
feeling
kinda
good.
level it out, because
Yeah, it's a perfect level.
Yeah.
As someone
I
who
just
is an
found coffee,
inveterate
but-
wake and baker, I think it's funny all you guys who don't wake and bake that go, man, I love waking up high. Like, dude, that's the game right there is get up and get high.
I'm kind of
You don't think I wake up off RSO and go still hit the pipe?
Yeah.
You're a trooper.
I like to be sober. so I
We
have,
don't
like,
even know all the
a
details about your
baseline.
personal life, dude.
If I wake up
I knew
high,
you
then
would
I
say
don't have,
that.
like, a
Deep.
baseline to get high during
One
the
day not at work, and you're already like, I gotta get a joke
You
in
gotta
on
get it.
something.
Yeah, man.
He didn't say pipe today. Nobody said pipe today.
Hey, at least I'm consistent.
I think I want to say TJ even today said I'm gonna go get the stir. And
Sure.
yeah, I swear to God, if I'm thinking about it, he said that, and he went and got the PVC pipe.
Oh, use a piece of PVC to stir too. That's what I
Hell
stir.
yeah,
I
dude!
Yeah,
just
but
use
then you
I
can't
just
say
got a
pipe.
rod of PVC. Dude.
I do
just
too.
stir my res with
Little
that.
1 inch.
Yeah.
1 inch PVC pipe.
Uh-huh.
It's like 2.5 feet long.
I remember when we found it, they go, "Oh, I don't think that's ours. I think the plumbers left that." I was like, "I don't care what the plumbers left. We hired them." And I grabbed that and started stirring.
Best stir stick, dude.
That's a good
Yeah.
mentality. That is a good mentality, and at least it's not wood.
Well,
not
I
wood,
just
yeah.
it was typical schedule 40s, and it was about 3 feet. So it was like, I don't think they're coming back for that. Plus,
There's a PVC
plus
shortage, dude.
those guys use that fancy. What's that? Schedule 80, the gray stuff.
Because they're worried about the pressure.
High pressure.
Yeah, that stuff's nice but expensive.
That's the other reason I don't have an exterior pump on my shit, because I'd have to go schedule 80 on all my PVC, and I don't want to redo it all.
Yeah.
Well,
We
and
got
you'd still have
the-
to step
yeah.
it down, or you'd be spraying water all over the floor because it'd come out at such pressure at the manifolds.
Yeah, you'd have to. I just put a reduction valve on the whole thing.
Oh yeah, reducer.
But then it'd be like, why do I have this big ass pump? But then it's a big ass pump. I probably need a 240 for it. I mean,
If you have a
jeez.
big ass pump, it's going to give even pressure. It's always going to
Yeah,
get pressure.
Yeah, it's nice to have a good.
they're
pump.
It
still
is nice to have a good.
they're still 115 volt red, so you can still plug them in, and we've used them with regular schedule 40, It's just about gluing your seams good.
Glue those.
But there,
Red's
it's
really
it's
big
the
about,
cost
like-
of the pump that kills people because it is like $800 or something.
Yeah, they're expensive.
Yeah.
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 Red's really big on no float valves, flying by the seat of his pants, fucking flood this shit over and over.
Dude, you know what I'm big on? I'm big on fucking union seals, man. Like if you've got a run of any
I'm
kind of
with you.
PVC that you're gluing, spend the extra $5 or $6 depending on what size you're working in, and put union seals in so you can take things apart so that you can clean and sanitize them. Don't just say,
Yeah.
"Well, I
And
ran
build
some shit through
service
the
loops.
lines."
Or swap things out. If you
Yeah,
put union-
they screw together.
Like
so.
the
But
quick
you always do
disconnect.
that.
So you
Yeah.
can do that. So you can take your filter out and still have water run through there or
Right.
whatever. You know, like a lot of people don't do that, and then you
Or
have
you
to
can
shut
put
down your
unions
whole system.
just
in
put
between your
unions on
pump.
every side of everything. So every side of your pump. So
If it's
you
gonna be replaced, put a
you
union
just-
there.
You undo the unions, you pop that pump out, you swap in your backup pump, and you're back running again within fucking minutes. Unions will fucking save
Versus
your ass.
having to
That and
cut the
valve.
pipe and
Glue
hope
and
that
shit.
right.
Throw valves after everything if you can.
I'm
Because
a big
then you have
valve
something
person.
to shut off.
I'm big with valves.
Yeah.
Valves everywhere.
ball
Big
valves.
with valves.
Always at the pump. You
Yeah.
gotta have a valve everywhere, man.
You want to go to the valve store, Red?
With valves. Well, I'm a big ball valve person. Valve store? Is there a whole store in valves?
Yeah, there's a fucking aisle of ball valves.
I like ball valves. I like a good ball valve.
What?
I like a good needle valve. I like a good ball valve.
You guys are just
Legend
baiting
ball
them.
valves, dude.
Just
Legend ball valves.
Yeah.
Joke.
I know, he's fucking grinding his teeth.
I like a good,
Grind.
I like a good check valve. Backflow prevention valve.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
did the
that's
check
all.
valve talk before, didn't we?
The
I
check, I don't
sold-
know.
I-
You know,
I
check
just
valves are.
installed a check valve myself on my son.
Don't
You always have a
what's
check valve on
important?
your
Check
sump.
yourself before you wreck yourself. You know what I'm
Always
saying?
have a check on your sump.
Rickety
Man. You
wreck.
don't want to, especially if you're going up a
Chickadee
good
check,
rise.
rickety
Once
wreck.
the sump pump shuts off, all that
Yeah.
water's gonna go right
Yeah,
back
it was
down
like a
into your
good
fucking
5 feet
You
up,
know?
so I definitely need
Yeah,
it.
learn about
yeah,
suck.
yeah. You're gonna flood your reservoir back
Yeah,
down.
see?
Get yourself a nice little sump pump going on.
Yeah.
And if you do a DIY, here's my thing. What I do instead of any kind of like a check valve or a backflow prevention valve, right? Backflow prevention valve is an important one on a reservoir where you have a possibility of getting.
Recycle.
I'm sorry, not backflow prevention. Anti-siphon. Yeah,
Yeah.
anti-siphon.
It's
yeah,
the same, yeah.
backflow prevention is different. Backflow prevention is gonna prevent it's similar to a check valve. Actually, it's almost identical.
Like a
to
reverse
it.
check
It
valve.
is a check valve. I'm pretty sure it's but yeah, that's backflow prevention is gonna make sure that you don't get anything like into your supply water. Let's say it's your tap, for example. You're
Like letting a kid drink your Pepsi. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And then
Yeah.
That's how you get
it comes
floaties,
back in.
man.
Yeah,
Might as well just
exactly.
give it away at that point.
just give it
Pressure
away.
valve.
That's the
Ooh,
place.
ooh,
Take it
pressure
away.
Here you
valve.
go,
That's a good
kids.
one.
Your
Take it away.
lucky
Like a
day.
pressure valve.
Get the rest of my fucking Pepsi. Congrats.
Why you
We're
guys say
spraying
fucking
this
to
word
kid,
'cause you
man?
can see
I
it
was-
floating
I was a-
there.
I was a
Oh, birthday
valve-
cake.
I was a valve technician. I worked on valves that cost more than most Mercedes.
More than an airplane.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I worked on
Weird
valves
flex,
that had
but okay.
nuts and
Oh, he's baked. He is valve flexing on you like
Valve
a
I'm
mole.
telling you,
I'm not,
that's-
yeah,
he's
I'm,
putting his
I'm,
ball valves right in your
I'm
mouth.
I'm an
He's a valve
amateur
flex.
valvist.
teabagging,
I'll admit it.
teabagging with these
Teabagging
ball
him with
I
the
just
valve.
started
The whole
my
aisle.
my
You
hobby
brought the whole-
valving.
I know you brought the whole aisle of valves, and Red's like, I fucking worked on valves that are more expensive than their fucking
They call me
Mercedes.
Mr.
You tell me
Valve.
about the hardware store valve?
That's in the back of the
Outta here.
valve store. You have to
Yeah.
ask the manager to see those valves.
a tin can actuator. This motherfucker was as big in diameter as this thing, and it was probably like 6 inches
What about
tall.
a Canuter valve? You worked on one of
$12,000.
those?
$12,000 for this little actuator that was like this fucking big, and then that would have to go on to a piece of cast aluminum, and inside would be a butterfly valve, and you'd have to replace some parts inside. You'd have to replace
Man
like
knows
ring,
all of his valve stuff.
dude. I know all
So
about fucking
basically,
valves.
Red, you're telling me that a plane is essentially a series of
valve.
valves.
Oh, flying
tons of
valves.
valves.
And that's it.
basically
So in
very-
order to fly,
so many
I
fucking
should get a
valves,
bunch
dude.
of valves.
Get a bunch of valves. First
And
you
just
need a
attach
bunch of
Strap them to
valves.
your body.
First, you need
Yeah.
a bunch of butterflies. Need a bunch of
Need a
butterflies.
We can get butterflies.
Need butterflies.
But
I've seen places they sell them.
Good monarch.
You catch them with like the butterfly net.
with a
Catch
net.
them with ball valves.
Yeah.
Lightning
Trap them inside.
use
Good
lightning
catch,
bugs and
good
use the fluorescence from the lightning bugs, of course.
Walter's got awesome witty
Expensive
comments. So I
balls.
appreciate
Expensive
reading
balls.
shit.
Damn.
Yeah. I've serviced some ball valves in my day, huh?
Lubed them up real good, huh, Red?
Like, service some balls.
Yeah, don't fly in a valveless.
I think that's
plane.
called crashing at that point, Brent.
No, that's it.
And with that, it's hash time.
Hash
I
time. I'm out of hash. I will crack a bowl.
BK knows all about injectors.
Injectors. Nice.
There's a series of valves on turbines too.
Cheers to Fergoli. He's not a member of this show. And Astro can't spell his name right, but live
Yeah, he
spelled
said
it.
Fru Growley.
Fru Growley.
Astro's been smoking that hash.
He already fixed it too. He's like, God damn it.
Too
What was
late,
that,
Astro highlighted it.
What was that for Growly we smoked, Spartan, that Tarek brought over that we like? Lime and skunk? Or, oh. Because that's my new favorite from Fergoli.
That was the hash time.
It wasn't Lime and Skunk. Lime and Skunk is the
Sounds
one
good.
that I had. She had a new one.
This is
Speaking
Dan.
of the hashtag song, shout out
Lime
to
Skunk.
Stony and Catachronic for the tunes.
Yeah.
Shout out to
Ooh.
Catachronic. Thank you guys for doing all of our songs for our show. We really appreciate that. Intro for the Bro Show Live, the hash time song. They do the outro song. Catachronic is the fire. Appreciate them guys very much.
If you have
Clement
Apple Music, they
Live.
do have them on Apple Music. You can check out a couple albums they got on there. They even have this song and the theme and everything else. So if you can't get enough of it, make sure you check it out.
Yeah, and they do
What's
a lot
that, Red?
Man's cut. Primal Punch.
I'm a punch, man.
Open
Yeah.
that
Punch,
sucker up.
Man's cut.
He had some of the most beautiful
yeah.
shit this last batch. It looked like drops of like spree or some sort of candy. It was so good looking.
Oh shit! What do you think of that, Becca?
It's pretty dang good.
It's pretty dang good, man.
Pretty dang good.
Thank you, Dan. Love you, brother.
And there's
Love you
this
mucho.
one.
And here's
That's White Wedding.
the logo.
White Wedding was
Check out what's
phenomenal.
Inside is
I
the
do
important
White
thing.
Wedding is one of my favorite strains I've ever grown.
You still
I would
got
love
those
to
beans?
try that.
You get that
Oh,
back up
wow.
beans, I think, right?
That's it.
Painted Lady's growing White Wedding right now.
I like how it just looks like a little chocolate. Like it's just
Yeah,
like a little. Like
That's a
little
good
caramel.
description. Yeah.
Yeah, like a little melt, dude. It's
I can't remember the cross of White Wedding. It was wedding cake and something
I
else.
looked it up
Butters-
when
White
they brought
Widow.
it.
The white, maybe.
White
The white.
Widow.
I'll look it up.
White Wedding.
None of those sound correct to me.
White, it's probably White Widow.
No, it
wedding.
wasn't.
Wedding cake and Girl
Wedding-
Scout cookies.
Incorrect.
Wedding cake and Girl
Oh,
Scout
but
cookies,
then
naturally.
this one is wedding cake and mandarin.
Isn't wedding cake just like
Okay, it's
Girl Scout
wedding
cookies and
cake,
something?
mandarin cookies, and
Yeah.
crescendo.
That's
Crescendo,
probably
that's
right
what it
because
was.
you
That's why
like
you liked
yeah.
it.
If
You
it's
like-
from Ethos, those are
It's
all
ethos.
hits.
It's wedding
Yeah.
cake. And, yeah. That's the one.
I like how the first result on Google is Leafly and they're dead fucking wrong.
Dude,
There was a
all
time when
it's
Leafly
like-
was okay though, dude. Like 5-6 years
my
ago,
God.
Leafly wasn't that bad,
Yeah.
but now it's just like
That tells
you
you
can't use.
they
Shout out
paid
to-
for that shit. They paid
I
to be
gotta-
put on the first spot.
I gotta say this. I'm shouting out to, I don't know if he's still in chat, Medical Mondays, but he was in chat a little earlier. But a few weeks ago, he had what's his name? Oh, I can't remember his name now. He's from Scilabs. And he got on that show and he tried to. They were asking him about the credentials or some kind of, is there some kind of a way where they would all follow the same standard? That's what I'm looking for. Is there a standard? And you can't have a standard because that's set by the federal government, and the federal government says it's illegal still. But what he said was, "Oh, I can't remember what he said, certified or Leafly approved or some shit." But he was holding up Leafly, like
Yikes.
that was fucking
Like that's some
something.
fucking paragon of cannabis
Yeah.
knowledge and information. And
Yeah, I was like, "Oh my god, cringe!" Jesus.
Yeah. Public service announcement. Leafly is misinformation
Cheers, Brian.
for sure. They're
We had-
more wrong than they are right, so don't quote them.
we had some Never mind. I don't know.
Are you French?
It's the same for all of those websites.
Oui,
So
oui.
like EU Seed Finder is a
never
really
anybody.
nice one if like you're into genetics, but you look up stuff, like you can look up GMO. It says that it's made by a different breeder than it's made by. Like all sorts of stuff is incorrect. So you got to kind of cross verify all of this stuff with people that know a thing or two and make sure
You can
that
go to
it's
the
correct.
breeder.
I
Yeah.
found Seed Finder has improved a ton in the last like couple of years because like what you have to be wary on Seed Finder is I think somehow it's user like entry based, like kind of like
Yes,
Wikipedia
you
or
can
something.
put information in there
So
about
if you're some breeder out there that just made a name for themselves, you can go and make your own GMO because this is America and you can do that, and then go and put it on
Right.
Seed Finder. So sometimes when you
That's right.
search on Seed Finder, you find that GMO.
So here's
instead of-
GMO.
that site.
There's two
Look.
GMOs right there.
Neither of those are made by the breeder.
Exactly.
Neither the seed breeder or the clone selection of GMO. So like both of these people are full of shit.
They're calling it
know.
GMO cookies, is what they're calling it. See, by Mamiko and Skunk House below you.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
curious if like Leafly and some of those others use some of these as sources. Like I'm curious how
They
they
do.
get their info. That's what I
They
mean.
get-
Like it's all.
Sure. You really got to know what you're looking for.
But like, okay, sequence search white wedding. Let's see what comes
And I
up for
know
that one.
and I know that like
So
there's
main one.
dispensaries are using info from Leafly, calling their like
So
they're
they're right on
they're
that
getting
one.
strains and shit. You
Like,
We
know,
know Leafly
This
is
is a
taking
great
every-
website if you're a
description.
nerd about genetics. This tells you
Yeah.
like wedding cake is made from triangle mints, and this tells you what triangle mints is and where it came from. This stuff is really good if you're a nerd about genetics.
And you can
This
click
is
any
how
one of
many
those.
crosses were. Yeah, exactly. You
Yeah,
can
like down
really
there,
go
there's sour diesel. It's a short one. It'll tell you
Let's
it's
just get
basically
confused.
Afghan.
This is one parent right
Yeah,
here. All of
it's-
this is
it's really
one parent. This is another parent. This is another parent.
So-
So like, there's a lot of information there, and you got to know what you're looking at to really get any information from it.
Yeah, and it all cross references within the site, which is pretty cool.
That's what makes that one kind of
Echo.
challenging
got an
for
echo.
me.
I've got the Echo.
It's gone now, but
Gone
that's
now.
why I can't read that one as much because I'm not as well versed, and it goes too confusing. It keeps going back further and
Yeah.
further and further.
It's
But
nice to know that like OG Kush became this, that became this, that became this, that is now Girl Scout cookies, or whatever. And realizing that all of it is just building upon legacy strains that like you read about in High Times, and now you know a little bit more. But even this website is inaccurate in ways, so it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I learned about it is I was really big on Northern Lights when I started growing because it was one of the first things that really worked for me. So when I went to Seed Finder, I typed in Northern Lights. And if you type in Northern Lights into there, you're going to get like 26 different Northern Lights. And they're all called Northern Lights. And you can figure out which one's which. And they're
Yeah.
not by the same breeder. They don't have the same flowering time. They're all fucking different. So then you
Northern
run into
Lights
an
is
issue.
tough because it's such an old one, and like everybody can make that shit up. But like, like Thug Pug made peanut butter breath, right? So if you Google that or you look that up on this website and you see peanut butter breath and it says some other name on there, you're like,
Bred by
oh,
Baked
well,
Pound.
yeah.
Well, that's the
That's
thing. It
bullshit.
was like Northern Lights, for instance, was back in the Amsterdam ages and the Red ages, where no one here was growing legally, even Cali. So nobody's recording. I mean, not nobody, but most people aren't recording their growing, and making this
So it's
written
oral
history. So
Yeah.
so then when it came out that this stuff was going to be real popular, then all of a sudden you had what's his name over there with Greenhouse Seeds or
Oh,
naming
Arjan.
stuff,
Arjan.
Arjan, and then
Arjan.
everybody starts claiming they had this and they started that, and that we didn't have anything to say. No, look, like Sequence just said, we know Thug Pug Breath, peanut butter breath. There's forum evidence. We can go back and find
Right. But
websites.
using Greenhouse Seeds, we can talk about their Super Lemon Haze. They're not the
Yeah.
originators of that.
Yeah. But they like the Northern Lights, for instance. We don't know exactly where that came from back then.
You
They
know,
took
when
a
you go
chance.
back to Northern Lights, it'll say something like Mexican, Thai, and something else. You'll just get back to like country of origin once you start getting back further and further into a lot of these legacy strains.
Yeah, Northern Lights is is it Afghani?
I think yeah, it's Afghan times Afghan. I think you're right.
It's almost a pure Afghani.
Yeah. Let's see. But
Jamie
yeah,
says, I
so
don't
like,
really ever see anyone growing greenhouse seeds. No, not anymore. If you
no,
did, you
he's
did it once or
gone.
twice, you know.
He made a fool of himself. But
Franco, yeah, Franco was because that video still gets recommended all the time on my YouTube. Is what was it called? Strain Hunters is the name of the
Strain Hunters.
yeah.
things that they did. Yeah,
I mean they got a huge library, but they ended up
Library?
taking a lot of like Cali genetics and distributing them around the world, which is good for certain cultures, but in a way it's also bad.
is it only listing one
Yeah,
thing
it's
now for Northern
terrible,
Lights?
man.
Well, it's
Well,
good,
yeah,
it's good for
after
money,
it's
but it's
just
bad for
Afghan
actual
strain.
medicine.
Yeah, those guys would go to like these places and trade their genetics for landrace genetics, and then now you got OG Kush growing in the middle of Sudan or whatever the fuck,
Yep.
Well,
So
that's
if you,
ruining their genetics.
yep.
And
I
So
was gonna
if
say,
you want to
yeah.
go to Durban to go search out some good Durban, you're gonna end up getting
It's
a bunch of
all
cookies.
cultivated though, man. The only thing that's I still stand on this hill and I will die on this fucking hill. If somebody's cultivating, they're making selections. If they're making selections, it's no longer landrace.
Well, that's the thing, exactly,
I
Scobo.
agree.
That's the thing. These people, there's so many people that are like, I've lamb raised this and lamb raised that.
Or
Where
the
did
people
you
say
get
I
it
have
from?
Durban. Like,
Where
how the
did
fuck
you
do you know
find
you have
it
Durban from
that
like 19?
humans haven't touched
Yeah.
it? If you can show me that, and usually if they have a place that's not in America, and they can go there, it's usually people involved. And like you just said, if there's people involved, there's selection involved. If there's selection involved, you're not a
Right.
lamb race. Mother Nature has to be the only
It becomes a
selector.
cultivated variety, is what it becomes
Yeah.
called.
Well,
Yeah, even the
semantics,
Afghanis that were open
semantics aside,
pollinating, you know, they
semantics aside, there's still a different genetic profile that existed in Africa than existed in Thailand than
Sure.
existed in, you know what I mean? Semantics aside from like whatever you want to call it, landrace or you know,
Yeah.
cultivated varietal or whatever it is, once you bring in hippie grown Cali weed,
or
you
Dutch
know,
genetics or whatever
Dutch
genetics they
genetics,
brought in, you
it
know.
bottlenecks their genetic pool, you know, then that's all they're growing. They stop growing their good high sativas because the reality is all the good high sativas is really a lot closely related to like low THC, high CBD cannabis than it is high THC cannabis, you know.
These
Thai
guys are a big
fibers.
reason why like white folks like us aren't allowed on the mountains of Jamaica anymore, is because they were doing these sort of things and ruining what is really important to these people and all over the world, really. And it's a sad thing.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's like, and I get it. Like maybe if we take Girl Scout cookies or OG Kush and we leave it in the, you know, Himalayas for 200 years, maybe it'll revert back to those original terpenes and profiles. But it might take again doing cultivated variety for another 200 years to get there again.
We have to consider the opposite side too, as well. If we'd never cultivated these varieties and messed with them, we wouldn't have what we have today. We would have
100%.
varieties
For sure.
like 2% THC that were like Ruderellus was pretty useless to us. But
Like the theory is
That's
like
a really good point.
with cultivation, Ruderellus is something that's viable now. So,
Right. There's a theory that like the highest THC landrace strains that you can find in the world are like 17%. So if you have any strains that are above that, they're hybrids and, you know, created by us to get more and more THC. You know, not that THC is the end all be all, but that's a good example of like we got away from landrace to select for a certain trait, and now we have strains that are like 30%. So we can do that sort of thing with various terpenes or CBD or whatever. If you look at open pollinated plants like Afghanis mostly, they were cultivating plants in a big field for resin production so they could make hash. They weren't cultivating plants for like max THC. So when you actually test their plants, they vary between 1% THC and like 17%. But what they were getting was what they were looking for. They were making charas and hash and all of that sort of stuff. We're selecting for different stuff than they're selecting for, and vice versa. and you get a lot of different variants in the cultures around the world.
But now let's jump up to today, right? 2022, where cannabis is legal in most of the United. Well, I don't want to say most of the United States. In a lot of the United States,
Over
cannabis
half.
is legal. But now it's soon. Eventually, you know, let's jump 20 years, 50 years down the road, where it's now most of the world, right? Where cannabis is now legal, and what we're not just growing cannabis for now aside from now I'm not talking about craft breeders, I'm not talking about craft growers, I'm not talking about underground markets or anything like that where all this good shit's still going to exist. I'm going to talk about the viable commercial market that does exist now, that will exist in the future, and 50 years from now will be kind of like, you know, Marlboro and Budweiser and all this other shit where there's selections, right? And breeders, big breeders today, large breeders. I'm not going to throw any names out there, but they're probably already working with large scale cultivators and stuff like that. But large breeders will begin to only focus on short flower periods. So we're talking 50 days or less, you know, 50 to 55 days tops, right? We're talking something that's probably not going to get very tall because everybody's going vertical. So something that's going to be like 3 feet tall. Something that's going to have great bag appeal, great whatever, because you can't open the jar and smell it. You know what I mean? Like they're going to be shooting for all these other things so that they can take a photo of it and put it on their webpage, you know, to make it
Right.
to sell it. You know what I mean? Because you can't see in the bag or anything like that. And then in the numbers, the THC number is going to go through the fucking roof and hit 30% because that's all the consumer cares about right now. They don't understand that a much more modest number with a higher terpene percentage or something like that, so that when you do open the bag, you get slapped in the face with your funk, you know, they're not going to understand that. So, you know, right now, cultivators, large scale cultivators, you know, let's say they have licenses for 50,000 plants or whatever, you know, they're ordering 1,000 packs of seeds and dropping tens and hundreds of $1,000s on breeders to go through programs to say, breed me this. And this is where we're going to be and why there is just so much.
It's where we are now, Red.
Right,
It's like
exactly.
why supposedly skunk doesn't exist is because not for whatever reason, basically growing was illegal. Skunk smelled really bad, so you couldn't grow skunk. So what we did was bred plants that didn't smell like cannabis or smelled less and less like cannabis, basically bred terpenes away from the strains because it was illegal,
which give different effects. Changes the
and
effect.
now you can't go back because you lost the genetic pool.
Change the high.
Yeah,
we changed that euphoric, giggly, weird high, and we got this weird.
That's why it's so important that moving forward, you have these little breeders that stay with like what they want to do, whether that's breeding autoflowers or breeding for purple strains or various terpenes. Because when Marlboro is the one breeding for the lowest flower time and the highest THC and stuff, we will lose all of those sort of things. They will get bottlenecked out of the game. So you have to have these guys to keep that stuff around.
They're not going to grow racy.
You can go backwards a little bit.
I think it's really going to be more like look at tomatoes right now. Look at what else is a good example? Tomatoes is the best I can think of right now. But like or peppers, tomatoes and peppers.
Tomatoes is a good example.
People right, both of those. There's giant commercial strains and varieties, yeah, for sure, and with little variety, really, kind of, yeah, for sure. But then there's tons of these artisan breeders and these home growers and these people that are just doing it for the love of it, and it's still out there. So I think
the important thing is we have to keep cannabis breeders breeding stuff because we've already seen that what happens when they don't do that or when they all do the same thing.
Or stop holding cannabis breeders up that aren't really doing much breeding. They're just throwing stuff together. Right. How about tell everybody, hey, you can throw things together. You can throw 2 strains together and make an F1, what you're paying $100 for 10 seeds. You can do that by taking, you know, hype strain times hype strain. And if you're calling that breeding, then you can do that yourself. And we can just tell everyone to do that.
Right. Anybody can cross GMO and MAC. You know what I mean? Like
exactly. Yep.
But creating your own GMO or MAC is its own different thing. And, you know, we know a lot of small breeders that breeds specific things, you know.
Yeah.
And that's what you need to keep this thing existing because other people aren't breeding those specific things. And that's really important. Otherwise, you don't get purple tomatoes. You get all red ones that are big and perfect size for hamburgers. But then all of a sudden, nobody's breeding the other ones, and then you lose.
I'm just fucking around with my breeding. It's like I'm fucking around with my
just fucking
Bliss
around.
project. And then I've got those vortex seeds. I'm going to throw them in the tent, the whole 5-pack, and just let them open pollinate themselves. If I get 2-3 males, I get
You're lucky we have those, man.
See, I love that. I have a friend that what he does, he buys a pack of regular seeds, and the first thing he does is pops them all in a tent and lets them pollinate each other. And then he's got a huge pack of like F3 whatever, you know what I mean? And then that way he's got a genetic pool that he can work with from there.
It is a good idea. I mean,
I like it, but I don't.
I had a point back. I forget what Spartan was saying, but let's go back.
I'm talking about breeding and how I think there's still going to be a small, at least a small group of home growers that are still going to be breeding for the love of the plant, just like there are tomato ones and just like ones.
These guys aren't like the guy I'm talking about. He's not selling seeds. Like he'll offer me some, but he's not selling them. He created them for himself, and maybe he's going to select some really good ones from that and clone those, or whatever. And that's what you're going to need to maintain these things.
Yeah, and we'll always get these waves. Oh, that's what it was. It was about the vortex, Spartan. It's that I bet on average most of that pack is gonna like mature at like 70 days or plus. You know what I mean? You're not gonna see that in the commercial market. They're not gonna breed for it in the commercial market. Breeders aren't gonna be trying to sell to and most of these a lot of these popular breeders, like the popular breeders are, they're getting like the exotics and stuff through. A lot of those guys are working, they're collaborating with large scale growers, and that's what they're going to be breeding for is those guys. You're going to see them where they're going to turn into the burpee. It's going to be burpee, and you're going to have 3 varieties of tomato, is basically what we're saying.
Right. Do you want your only choices to be Northern Lights, Blue Dream, and OG Kush?
Very similar to the greenhouse seeds thing, the Barney's farm,
Barney's farm.
They still have all their old classics on their website.
Yeah.
I've only made 2 crosses myself, and that is for like the Bliss was for my sister. She asked me to, and the other one I just called the tribute cross, and that was because it happened so quick together. Kind of for me was the Subcool passing, and then Morningstar seed passing. And I had both their genetics, and I I had a male and a fucking female, and I popped them together for that tire fire. And I still got a jar of those. And I'm going to get to those eventually. I just call that the tribute seeds. I
love the idea, like carry that on because, they can't do it anymore and somebody's got to. And they had an idea, Sub stood for a lot of things and he meant a lot to a lot of people. And I'm sure there's a lot of people breeding with his stuff and carrying that stuff on because he was really had some ethics about what he was breeding, about terpenes and the different strains that he was using.
That was my favorite.
He was big on networking too, though, and working with different, like TGA, the Green Avengers.
Yeah. I just loved how he
the Jinx.
I didn't like all that though, I'll tell you that. Because that's when it started getting confusing. What is he so cool? Is it TGA? Is it this?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm talking about just his gear. Like I liked that his stuff was terpy, and he was almost like a chef. It was almost like foods.
Yeah.
The way he described it. So I really, that's what drew me to his strains. And I always really thought they were different. Like when I popped Vortex, it was way the fuck different than Chernobyl, and that was way the fuck different than fucking Pennywise.
Well, yeah, and at the time there was like 5 other flavor profiles out on the market. White Widow,
right.
What else? The big name.
It's crazy that Sub was breeding
Blueberry,
seeds like in Nevada, California, and stuff, and they were super popular here in Michigan. Like you still hear people talk about like Queen Anne's Revenge. My friend grew.
He was all over the forum,
and he worked. Like Eagle was his dude for that. You know what I mean? Like when I got my Pennywise seeds, I got them from Eagle.
He was his dude for that.
Yeah.
He was on the forums. I met him on Roll It Up in like 2007. He would talk to you. It
There's
didn't
still stuff
matter
on
who
there.
you were. He
If
would
you go and roll it up, he's
respond
still got stuff.
that like within 24
Oh
hours.
yeah, for
Any
sure.
questions I had about his super soil recipe, he responded with and it's not like you get like it wasn't like a yes or a no. He gave you a full response and didn't treat you like some nobody, of which at the time a lot of the bigger people in the forums definitely did, because they thought they were, the bee's knees. But yeah,
The bee's knees.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So-
that's
Oh,
what I
yeah.
always noticed.
He was really the first one that I knew that really he had a whole show just talking to the community the whole time. You know what I mean? So he was more like interactive with his audience than a lot of the other people. A lot of other shows came and started to do that later, but I think for me that was the first one that I saw on YouTube that was really watching the live chats and like you said, answering questions and everything else. That was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, Dankabis.
Yeah, who could
JMA
forget
Sour
Agent
D
Orange?
is not gone, my friend.
Oh,
Sour
yeah.
D is still
Yeah.
No, I
around.
got a what is it? New
East
York
Coast
sour
Sour D.
diesel.
You know
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah, but that's the thing about this New York sour D is that's another one. There's the whole thing about sour D. Where's the real one?
Well,
Is
the other
JJ's
sour
cut?
D-
Is it top? Whatever JJ has, or is it something else? And we have what's called New York sour diesel, which technically isn't supposed to be the real deal, except everyone that smokes it says it's the real deal, and it looks like old school sour diesel. It gives you the high like it. So like it's very confusing out there,
We'll
but I
see,
don't
'cause
give
I'm
a crap because it's good weed.
Yeah,
You
I was
know?
gonna say we're gonna see because I'm gonna take it a little bit longer and see if I can get it to see if it changes the effect at
What
all.
day are you on with yours?
I don't know off the top of my head. I'm probably approaching 60, maybe.
Okay, so you're like,
60s.
yeah, I'm approaching 50. So I'm like 10 days behind you. So I'll be able to take it maybe even longer or just base it off of your harvest.
Yeah.
So that'll be
From what I
cool.
remember, Sour D does go a little bit long in the flower time.
Our coworker TJ, well, yeah, he took it, I think, I can't remember. He took it in the 60s, but I want to say like 63 for some reason, because that's his go-to number. But
But the high
I
was
know
really
he
nice.
said
That
he
number
said it
did.
was too early. What's that? Midwest sweet and
Sweet and
sour,
sour.
East Coast sour diesel times Kip.
Jesus,
Dude, you have the 2020 collection.
He's got like 500-600 seeds he showed yesterday on the show.
Oh,
So
nice.
Burning Tree is East Coast Sour Diesel and oh fuck, what was it? It was East Coast Sour Diesel and something else. Shit, I gotta talk to my homie. I might be able to just check his
Isn't it
Instagram.
on the packs?
It's not on the packs because I don't have a pack of Burning Tree. It
I'll
might
look.
be on his website. Becca will figure it out. She's pretty good at this. Oh, I didn't even notice this. Each one of the packs has a different.
Oh, that's cool.
Fancy.
That's pretty dope.
That's pretty cool.
It's a fish.
It's a fish. He had that logo with his brother back when they were doing their stuff together. It's like a cassette.
Sour
if you didn't
Bubble.
see-
Yeah.
Oh, Sour Bubble. That's what it is. So it's Bog, Sour Bubble, and in Burning Tree. So after Matt
Rest in
passed,
peace, Bog. That's another legacy breeder that it has.
yes, 100%.
Yep.
After Matt passed, my homie who is Organica on Instagram / Greenfish Seeds, Tara and Dankman Dan grow some of they grow the Gang. I think I got Gang in here. They grow the Gang up at Freedom Green Farms and stacks really nice. So it's just so anyway, the Burning Tree, East Coast Sour Diesel pops the seeds. They had the Sour Bubble in it.
Here's some
And,
East Coast Sour Diesel and Kip.
Mm,
Yeah, we have that.
Yeah, there it
big
goes.
old colas.
Yep. Yeah, is that the Midwest? Yep, Midwest. Yep. So that, and I'm searching out at East Coast Sour Diesel, man. Okay, so I used to, when I was a starting out caregiver, when I had my first patient, before I was just starting out growing and I was trying to source genetics and this and that and the other. I had my own like flowers, but my patient didn't want anything that I grew. So I was still sourcing through other people, and I was still like I needed more weed than, I was taking care of more people than what I could grow, right? So I still had to like outsource. So I'm outsourcing through these guys. Good friends of mine, went to high school with them the whole nine, long time homies, big friend circle we have. Matt passed away. Actually, just a couple days after I quit smoking cigarettes. So it's like the same time frame, it's like 6 years ago. And one of my favorite strains that they grew was that East Coast Sour Diesel, dude. It was so fucking piney, so fucking fuel and pine, dude. It was just so good, man. And so I got this here. This is the Burning Tree. This is Detroit Nugs right here. I got a nug left of the Burning Tree. My homie gave me like a solid 4-gram eighth or something like that of this Burning Tree. And that is the East Coast Sour Diesel. It almost looks like Durban, dude. It's got like this darkness to it. It's really nice. It's got some foxtail-y.
Yeah, I
things
was going to
going
say, I
on.
like the little foxtail look.
Oh, yeah.
It means that it's actually hand trimmed. If it was machine trimmed, that'd all be
that'd be all just fucking gone.
all destroyed for sure. You
It's
wouldn't see
just
the
got
structure.
such a good, it just reminds me of the East Coast. And I don't think I'll ever forget that, man. I'll ever forget that like flavor and that high, and like it was just such a good strain, dude. And it kind of like lost its way through the friend circle. My homie ended up getting it back and did some breeding with it, which is cool. He was able to work with it. But the Burning Tree I'm pretty interested in that, man. It's the bog, the sour bubble. And so a couple packs that I got from them back in the day, not packs of seeds, packs of flour. Casey Jones, I think. There's a Las Vegas Purple Kush. Fucking
I used to
phenomenal,
love
dude.
Casey Jones, dude.
Oh, dude, this
So
Las Vegas
good.
Purple Kush. And their Casey Jones. Casey Jones was like peppery, fuely, really racy, as if he were behind heading the helm of that fucking train himself, riding that train high on cocaine. And another one, Schnozzleberry, dude. It reminded me of my great grandma's grapes. I used to call it great grandma's grapes, not to other people, like to myself, because it reminded me of my grandma would grow Concords on her, kind of full of seeds, super sour, like just ornamentals. They're so delicious to me as a kid, But I remember this just Schnozzleberry, and so the Las Vegas Purple Kush. There was also another one. I can't remember, Casey Jones and a few others. Anyway, I got these packs, dude, and they were just loaded with seeds. I had to go to Harbor Freight and get a spotlight with a magnifying glass and sit here with a pick and the magnifying glass. I had probably a pound of shit that I had purchased, and like it was just loaded with, there was a lot of seed, you know what I mean? It was just some shit that like I probably could have been like, hey, dude, what the fuck, and probably could have like got my money back. But honestly, at the same time, I was like, I'm gonna give me some fucking good seed. So I just went through it and I picked out a ton of seed, and I have a lot of that seed too from Las Vegas Purple Kush. Most of them weren't that bad. I only got 1 or 2 seeds. But I'm super geeked that I have a couple of those seeds, and one of them I think I might even have a couple more old ECSD seeds out of that, and it might even be from this round. So it might even be a.
But those are herm seeds. You gotta be careful. I wouldn't be popping anywhere else.
It depends. I suppose. Just depends
outside,
on
throw them outside.
how the herm goes or how it herms.
You gotta breed with herms to get herms out.
Yeah.
You gotta breed with herms to get herms out.
You do. Go listen to podcast Chimera. He's a PhD in breeding and all that in agriculture, and he explains why you would have to use something at least with the hermaphrodite trait that against something with hermaphrodite trait. It's a whole. He has 3 episodes, but it's crazy that he explains it to make sense. But you have to use herms to breed herms out.
Like a double negative.
It's something like that. Yeah.
I think all the genetics have it in them, so that's
exactly. Yeah, but yeah, so that made sense to me.
Is that just when there would be just a couple random seeds?
Yeah. So there's a couple of ways that herms go. You either will get a male sex organ or 2 on the plant, and it's like, oh, I fucked up somewhere and I stressed the plant out. Or you have a genetic herm that in week 4 when you have a nice crowning plant that looks like it's about to start swelling, all of a sudden just starts throwing like bananas, which it's
Sausage party.
yeah. I don't think I've shown you like a real male plant yet.
I saw the one from
I
outside.
hear DOG.
Okay, there are male plants outside.
I mind
Male
that.
outside. Male,
That volunteer that was male.
Quigley's wheezing behind me.
Oh, that's Quigley. I'm hearing.
Okay, it didn't like actually open up. So I'll need you to show her some actual open pollinated flowers.
I mean,
but,
I've seen things on like Instagram.
so you know
but
the
not in real
balls.
life.
You know it had
Yeah.
balls.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's like you'll see that sometimes in a herm, and that's like a herm. But you'll also see like late stage herming, which is like when that ball opens up. There's the pollen. Would those be like would those be those wouldn't be stamma.
Your
Pollen sac?
Yeah, what we call the nanners or pollens. Well,
It's
not
a
the
flower. It
sac,
opens up like a flower, a yellow
the
flower.
flower.
Stamen,
But what
right?
is that? Is it a stamen? Or the stamen's the what collects the pollen?
I don't
Is it-
fucking
What has the pollen?
No, I don't fucking know. I just
Fucking
grow
all right.
plants.
Anyway, so you know the little part in the middle of a
I know you're
flower that
talking
has
about.
the pollen. you
It's
know, the
fucking
bees, like,
midnight.
all
What are
upon?
you-
So that bit just kind of like expels itself out of a bud sometimes. Like late stage, you'll get a hermaphroditing. It'll just expel itself out of a bud. Just it's called a nanner, and it looks like a banana
Yeah.
popping out of
Shaped
a bud.
like one,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But
I believe
it's-
every cannabis plant will
it's
throw
the-
some late stage if you let them go long enough.
it's weird though
Yeah.
because like males that is contained in a sac, you know what I mean, and like in hermaphrodites you get a sac, but in some hermaphrodites just the banana pops out.
Yeah.
And in late stage just the banana pops out, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, and
Those
I don't know,
ones.
maybe there was a sac holding I'm for lack of better terms I'm just going to call this thing a fucking banana. I mean I don't know.
If I get one or two bananas, I pick them off, and if I don't see them
Yeah.
come, I figure
eat
that's
I pick them off and I eat them.
fine. I don't
You know?
eat
Yeah,
them.
if you're
Well,
only seeing them after like
it's my
day
way of getting rid of
60,
it.
it's
You know what I
fine,
mean?
Yeah,
you know?
that makes
Liquid,
sense.
you know, get rid of it, and that way
Liquid
it's not.
fucking neutralizes it.
Yeah, neutralize it. You know, put my saliva on it, acidic, kill it, whatever.
Red will
Just
put
eat
anything
the-
in his
eat the
mouth. dude.
banana.
Comes out of my guard.
He eats all of his
lightly
seeds.
speaking.
After the
lightly
show, Red
speaking.
OnlyFans.
That goes the super late night.
Red's got pica.
That's a 4:20 a.m.
I should swallow some bananas.
Okay, so that's different from just like a couple seeds randomly being in a
Yeah,
Usually that's what'll cause like a
that-
couple seeds.
it'll cause it.
That's
It's like
yeah.
an unnoticed, like
If you have
somewhere.
a real herm, it's
there's a
early
bud
in
that-
flower, and you're gonna have a lot of seeds.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, like, if you
Yes.
have a couple of seeds, it's usually from this. This is only really a problem if you grow perpetual. You get an an or late in flower, and you have plants that are early in flower. That can be an issue.
You just have pollen in your
You know,
room.
if
Just
you're growing
pollen
one
here
crop
and
at a
there.
time
Yeah.
and this happens, you're only going to get a couple seeds, and
Yep.
it's not really a problem.
Or sometimes
I
they'll
agree.
you won't see it. It'll be low in the canopy, not getting enough
Right.
light.
You
getting
usually
weird
won't
light,
see it.
you know, and that's usually where it is. It's that
Then you're
one bud
harvesting,
that's
and you're like, ah, shit, there's
Yeah.
a banana right there.
yep, exactly. Or you'll catch it while you're trimming, and a lot of times that's it though. Like one or two seeds, and it's usually falling out when you're trimming because it's like those
There you
external
go.
seeds, you know.
I'm inclined to believe Ryan because he
Stamens.
hasn't commented
Okay.
yet.
Did
so
we
this
say
made him bring out his opinion.
stamens?
Exactly. see,
Stamens.
Paul-
That's what,
Paul
I, that's
Stamens?
what I
They are the
said, so that
stamens.
means I'm right.
They are
They
the
said Paul
stamens.
Stamens.
I'm
I
pretty
don't
sure
even
we
know who
said,
that is. I've just
we
heard
said
it
something
before.
close.
Paul
We said
Stamens?
stigma. Oh, it's the stigma. That's the female.
Male
part.
organs are not pulse.
Female is the stigma, and the male
Yeah,
is the stamen.
check out my Paul
There we go,
Stamens.
It's the stamen.
Yeah, check it out. Hey.
Hey.
That's a very
Hey.
small mushroom, my
Where's
friend.
the mushroom hat?
Bilbo with the jokes.
I mean, I got to be good for something. Fuck, man.
Dude, our seed starting mix just exploded with mushrooms this week. It is just so fucking active. Vegetable seed starting mix. Wow.
Are
A
you
little
using a
bit
new
of-
one this year or same one as
Yeah,
last year?
yeah. You know, I usually just use cocoa, and then like I wait too long to plant them out, and they get all nutrient deficient and shit like that. But so
Just like cannabis.
sometimes I'll use cocoa and a little bit of compost, right? Like a 1-to-1. And this time I did, it's complicated here, but the 1-to-1, let's say cocoa mix, let's call it tuper. I used tuper on one part. The other part was a 1-to-1 of worm castings and Coast of Maine. So compost and worm castings. So 1-to-1 with a mix of one of those parts being a 1-to-1. And then sprinkle in some oyster shell, sprinkle in, of course, the Mother Earth kind that's super, super powderized oyster shell. And then some azomite, and then a little bit of BioLive. Again, Mother Earth products, BioLive, kelp meal, neem meal. I love the way neem meal smells for some reason. It just has this like...
I know. I don't know why people say it smells bad. I like the meal.
I like it. I kind of like, not the oil, the meal. Yeah, the meal. It just has like this. I don't know. It's like like a spice. It's like a spice to it.
I have to give it a shot. I don't think I've smelled it.
And dude, this mix just like, whoo boy,
so many mushrooms.
Loaded. There's some kind of mycelium going on in there. Something happened.
Hell yeah.
Bunch of mushrooms growing out of that little mix, but
well, it's specifically in the ones that we used toilet paper rolls.
Good point.
Like we cut them in half and then put the soil all in
the way
there.
around it. Yeah.
Oh, they got some dookie fungal.
Maybe.
I'm pretty sure they don't use
it's in the air
bowl to wipe their ass with, man.
Hey, if you
but it
smell,
might
if
be in
you
the air.
smell, if you smell it, that means there's
You smell
particles
it,
in
it's
the
particles, they're there.
So that poo particle landed on the inside of the tube, and then they used the tube, and that inoculated their fungal.
Yeah, the spores would have to be something. The spores are.
Well, you ate something somewhere, and the spore made it all the way through.
Something had some
lady
endo.
says when I fart, she says poop particles.
Poop particles.
Oh, every Saturday?
Yeah, dude.
Just another Saturday.
I'll shot Bluka.
You have to learn how to fart out of your ear.
What?
Out of my ear?
Yeah.
I don't think that'd be healthy.
Well, it's...
And I'm not even a doctor.
It's
Get a bubble. I knew you were a doctor.
Back your head.
Yeah. I didn't show you my badge.
I don't want
Doctors get badges, right?
You're not wearing a stethoscope.
Oh, I left it over there. Believe me.
Good point, Scobo. That's too close to the eyes.
Where'd you leave it?
Over there.
Yeah.
and my lab coat's at work. That can be confirmed.
That can be confirmed. I agree.
Yep.
I agree with you. I can't even argue that.
Yeah. Skilbo, you got anything going on garden wise yet?
There? Damn.
Nope. I'm getting ready for my outdoor though.
Yeah.
Yep.
You got a spot picked out?
I think I'm gonna put them right on the back deck, bro. I got those the 55-gallon drums, and I just want to cut it in half and do some wicking and get it done.
That'll work, dude.
See how we just went right back to these drums?
Place. Do you not have a place to grow yet, or
fuck no, man?
Going forward, or
no, because I have kitchen remodeling is coming up in 2 weeks, and that's going to be a month long. So everything, I'm taking my kitchen and my dining room and making one big dope ass kitchen.
Oh, nice.
So everything that's in the kitchen and the dining room has to go someplace for a while. So.
Right.
Open floor.
It's all going to go in the basement or whatever.
Yep, it's going in the basement. So I'm like, fuck it. I'm not even going to start anything in the house. I'll just wait until outdoor season, June 1st. I'll hit it running.
But so eventually, you're going to be able to. You're going to be
eventually.
Able to.
Yeah.
Cool. Good.
Well, what do you?
That's what every episode of Flippers taught me. Open floor plan.
Open floor plan.
Open floor plan.
You would like
all
what
the
are
rage
called, Red? Barn dominium.
Yeah, we're fucked. We're fucked when we want rooms again, though. Once we want to go back to the 40s when we have like little tiny kitchens and like 1,000 little rooms in our homes.
That's never coming back.
Start building fucking rooms again.
Why? You need space for activities. We've learned that.
That's what I always say.
Sewing room
for square dancing, right?
Yeah, square dancing. Jesus Christ, you're a boomer.
Yeah,
all the activities
he lives in, and they took all the walls out of the house. It's really crazy. It's neat.
Oh man!
See this wall right here? This one.
That's a load-bearing wall, Becca. I can tell.
No,
really not.
No, it's the floating wall. Yeah, that's the floating wall. It doesn't touch anything.
Oh my god, that would bother the hell out of me. Why did they do that?
It's so annoying. It's so annoying, dude. It's just a partition.
That's so 80s,
It's literally
90s.
a partition. It's a partition. That's a kitchen. That's a kitchen. Okay.
Dude, the worst decoration from olden times is the fake wood paneling. I don't know why there was a fad of that.
Dude, that's old.
This shit's gonna last. This is gonna look good. All the terrible ideas, like
paneling goes back to like
Ugh.
fucking 40s, not
It's
earlier.
disgusting. I've had to remove it, replace it, all kinds of shit. I hate that crap.
It's mostly paper.
This stuff. Kate?
It's-
You like this
I hate
stuff?
wallpaper. Oh, I hate fucking
Yeah,
wallpaper.
There
and
it
they
is,
still
yes.
sell it.
Yeah,
They still
dude.
sell it. That's what bothers
Dude,
me.
$25 a sheet?
So
out of
Are you
stock.
kidding
this
me?
should
I
be
know.
outlawed.
Dude, that stuff
Out of
should be
stock.
like $8 tops a sheet.
Yeah, they're getting it out of what's that factory that made asbestos? They're getting it out of that
Oh,
place,
so
I'm
nice.
sure.
Oh,
Oh,
100%.
God.
That stuff used to be made out of the same
Armstrong or
material as
something.
those ceiling tiles.
It's like a bedroom family
Made out of
room of the
asbestos.
1970s.
They're all fucking.
Like every cabin up north.
They're half polymer.
No, it's
Half-
got to be
yeah.
knotty
They're mostly
pine for the up
glue.
north
Some
cabins.
people, yeah,
gotta be
some
knotty.
people
Got
glue
one of
them
those.
on.
It's like
So have fun figuring that
no,
out.
it's like it is glue. Like
What it
No,
is,
all
I had
them
one. I had
wood
one that
shavings
was
are stuck
tacked
together.
on.
They
What
got
it is,
little
is
wood
little
We need
the
a
nails.
moment of
company stuff.
silence for Nick. He's got a whole basement of.
Mm,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Nick, a moment of silence.
What it's gonna be.
That was
is
it.
Take a dab
That
for
company
That's
But
all
you need to get to taking that shit down, buddy. That's,
I bet
It's
you that
all-
company is just the company that repurposes the old shit that people are ripping down. And then they resell it
yeah,
to
you're
people.
probably right. Like,
Resell
oh,
it for $25
send
a
it
panel.
back. We
Good
gotta
Lord, dude.
The price
just
of wood went up, right?
Ooh, my
wipe it off and put it back to Lowe's. Send it back to Lowe's. They'll sell that shit. Some son of a bitch
here's-
is gonna buy that.
Here's
Yeah.
here's a
Come on, that's
terrible
Menards.
statistic that's
a
gonna.
Menards
It's
Oh
brand.
yeah,
reclaimed
fucking
wood
Menards.
paneling.
I think like 90% of landfill waste is like building materials or something like that.
And here's
It's
what we're
all
gonna
old
do.
wood
I thought it was
paneling
water
from the
bottles.
70s
We're
and
gonna
80s.
tell them. Get this.
No, the water
we're gonna
bottles
fucking
make their
tell
way
them
down
was
rivers,
straws,
it's
dude.
11%
Oh, there you go.
off.
Okay.
But then we're not gonna give them 11% back. It's gonna be store credit.
No, you can tell them it's a rebate. And then when
Yeah.
you get the rebate, you
No,
go look
even
down,
better.
you get the
People like
cash.
me
Like,
don't
no, it's
send
not
that shit
cash.
in.
Oh,
People
well,
like me
that's their
forget
Right,
to
ultimate
send that
goal,
shit
I
in.
never
Red.
send it in, dude. They
Yeah,
got
well,
my
that's
ass.
their
That's what they
ultimate
fucking
goal.
bank on, dude. People like me.
Well,
I got,
yeah,
I
and
got
that's
fucking
yeah.
3 of those rebate stupid things sitting in front of me.
Well,
I
they
gotta
put
go
a they
online
put a
and do it.
time limit on it.
That's what I mean.
So like you have to send that shit
2
back
weeks or
within
some
like a
shit.
month or two. I'm not thinking about
like
all
2
my
weeks.
receiptage and like
Ugh,
shit like
ugh.
that, and then it gets lost, and they know that shit's happening.
Old man gets angry at receipts.
Gus, that's the best interpretation of
And
my
I was about to
shirt.
do mine today, but then I'm like, oh
Old
shit, I gotta
man
take
gets
these
angry at
items back.
receipt.
So can I collect my reward and then take the shit back? That sounds like a hustle.
It is.
We love you.
No,
bud.
it
Fucking
is.
A.
It is Red. It's a
I'm
straight
crying
hustle.
over here because I can remember when
buy a
Baker
refrigerator.
was like trying to time it right, so he saved like
Get
a
my
lot
rebate
of
and take
them.
that fucker back.
Because he was thinking he was getting it all back as like a check, like money.
I did
And,
get.
and he got back his store credit, and he flipped the fuck out, man.
Yeah, dude, I was planning. I was like, this
He
is
was
gonna be
not
like
having it.
$150. I've been
I'm gonna pay
good
my
and saved
cable bill.
all my
gonna buy a pack
fucking
of seeds.
receipts.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
buy some
and
seeds.
keep in mind, people, there's a lot of things I had to get used to up here coming to Michigan. One was Menards. We didn't have Menards with this tomfoolery, and
That's a good point. It is a scam.
it's just and that and deposits, which is really tax on my pop. But
10 cents, dude.
we
You
can
get
get
it
into
back,
that
though.
later.
Saying,
We can
Pop,
get into
we
that.
got
You got to
in
take
there.
them back, Bake.
Well,
you gotta
I
let
did
them
that,
build
yeah.
up in your garage for 4 years. You get like 4, 5, 8
been doing that,
huge
Red.
garbage bags full.
I've got-
take up
I've got
about
a
space of
lot.
a small sedan.
I got a lot, and I plan to bring them back.
It's a Michigan
yeah.
way, baby.
But yeah, so I had to get used to that, and it's just ridiculous. It's just like, give me my discount or don't.
They'll be in your car for a month, and then you'll finally take them. Oh, you
Your
don't have
car's
a
gonna
car.
smell like old
Yeah,
soda
I don't have
and
a car.
beer.
Yeah.
Car smells like old beer.
That's
for a
exactly
week.
how I lost them,
Sold
Becca.
beer.
That's exactly how I'd lose them, because you get in the car and you're ready to go do the project you bought all the stuff for. So you throw your receipt over there or something. Boom. Month later, it's no good,
No good.
and they just got your $5.97 like that.
Yeah, dude.
Bart is so
597.
happy right now.
I'm telling you, dude. Menards gets me every time. I'm like, oh, I'll go
It
just go
is.
to Menards because I can get the shit, for cheaper. Oh,
And it's
because
close to me.
you get
Guys,
a
they
rebate.
have
and-
49-cent mac and cheese, and it's literal trash. Don't.
Oh, I
buy
would
it.
no. If I'm going to a store to buy home goods and I want food for some reason, I'm now going to Sam's. Because
that mac and cheese is made out of those rebate coupons.
$1 soft pretzels.
Dude, we found the spot. Fucking Sam's Club, the fucking little
We
eatery
hang
spot.
out there now.
Oh fuck,
Pretzels
Yeah.
and pizza,
shit
man.
right
You
there.
guys
Pretzels,
hang out
pizza,
at Sam's Club?
Yogurt.
Dude, you get like New York style pizza as big as your face.
Yeah,
for $1.
Yeah.
a drink. Yeah,
Oh, they don't have a condiment you don't want? Well, then just go into Sam's Club and get a big thing of it.
because who doesn't need
You-
2
you know,
gallons
that's
of tartar
funny.
sauce, right?
I
gallons
You
of
use it the
coleslaw.
next time you come to Sam's.
I was checking out at Sam's Club, dude. I was standing there, with
Oh,
my
shit.
fucking credit card because they don't take cash. And I'm like, all right, and 45 minutes later, after this lady's scanned everything and put it all into a basket with no bags or anything, and now I have to go search for boxes to try to load up and all this other shit. I'm seeing people walk out of the store with only a slice of pizza. People shopping
Yeah.
at Sam's Club just for a slice of pizza.
We
I was
went in there
blown
the
fuck
other
away,
day.
dude.
Costco.
We
is
went
like
in there
that.
the other day before Tara got to my house, and we said we gotta fucking get in there, get our shit, and get
Yeah,
home
fucking
because
go.
Tara's on the way and
Yeah.
she's got dabs.
Jeez.
So we go in there and we walk in. We show us, I didn't have a card at the time. I was not a club member. I'm just accompanying
tackle you,
Spartan.
bro.
He likes to show his card real,
Like-
proudly.
Because they
Here
used
you go,
to
old
do that. They
lady.
used to
Check out
have
my
the,
card.
Dude, they used to
the
get
Sam's
you.
Club police,
Yeah,
dude.
Where's your
Well, that's
Sam's
what
Club
he
card?
was saying. He was telling me
Yeah.
about
Well,
that.
that's not you. No,
So
that's-
we
that's
go
my
in
mom.
there, and it's always at the front, the food place. We immediately check. We do a line check. It's an ocular pat down of the line, and there's I don't know, at least 7 different
Thousands
groups.
people.
Yeah, we might as well be 7,000. And we literally, and if you've been in a Sam's Club, it's like a dividing thing between the entrance and the exit. There's usually product. We literally look at the line and we said, "Oh, we don't know, can't do that." And we turned around and exited and blew past the ladies to check your receipt because we didn't have anything.
They
We
wanted to see your
walked in
papers
and
anyway.
out because the food line was too long. We said, "Fuck this."
Tell you
Yeah.
what, Costco is known for this. They've got like $1.50 hot dogs, and they're
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
dead
Oh,
set
that's
on never
expensive.
changing.
Oh, I'll
Sounds
tell
like
you guys, I've been to both. I've been around the world, you might say, and I've been to
Yeah, dude,
both
you're a
Sam's
Florida
Club
man,
and
dude.
Costco,
Been around
and
the world. Yeah.
and they're pretty much the exact same places, like layout and everything. Their tire place is in the same place, and their food place.
I
The
think I
only
was
thing
in.
Sam's Club has that's better is self checkout.
I think I was in.
Oh, I always avoid the self
Middle
checkout. You can't use
school.
cash in self checkout.
I was.
Oh,
in,
yeah.
Self-checkout.
we went to Sam's Club. We took a field trip. This is a real story. We took a
Field
field trip
trips
to
to
Sam's.
Sam's.
We took a field trip to Sam's Club
Was that on Sunday?
for like a work day. Yeah, we got to go to Sam's Club to
Child labor.
no, not to work, but to see how to get a job. You know what I mean? This is a job. It's in somebody from Sam's Club walked us around Sam's Club. We got to see the back of the house of Sam's Club, the clock. This is how you clock in at Sam's Club. This is how you
This is
run
what
your
I need to
shift.
know.
This is our field trip, dude. This is public school education, man. It's the best we got.
They were preparing you for those professional jobs, like
The
doctor,
real
lawyer,
professional
the guy that clocks in at Sam's Club.
That's it, dude. This is what we got,
2
man.
hours a week. He's
Votech,
lucky.
you don't sign up for Votech, you get Sam's Club, dude. You better get your shit together.
Hey, just realize that
We
there's no pop can return at Sam's Club, so you're at least better than the guys.
Hold
that start
on,
dealing with
They
those
don't want
dirty
those
things.
Hold
guys
on.
in there.
Chat's trying to give a tip here.
Yeah,
And
there's
it's-
2 people that have given us a great
But I
tip. for
want
the
to I want to
Costco
I
and
want
Sam's
to
Club.
question the tip because I've been to Costco as I mentioned before. And if you get in there, you still have to show your card at the cash register.
At
They
checkout.
scan your card before you
Yes.
can pay. So how are you going to get past that one? Tell me.
That's a good question.
Some
That's a good
alcohol.
question.
I'll be waiting. We have 8 minutes.
His tip was the alcohol.
I'll
We-
be waiting.
Yeah, we had 2 people.
No,
that
his
said
tip
if
was
we
to get in for free.
get in. Yeah, not to
You
get
can
out.
get
I
in.
don't
You're
buy
trapped.
that much alcohol.
Well, you could walk up, just excuse me, ma'am. I see you only have a couple of items. I seem to have misplaced my Sam's Club card somehow. Can I
Okay,
give you
so
$20?
Oh, Kazoo's right.
You can still get food.
So you
have
can't
to-
still
buy
go to the
stuff,
food.
but you
they
can buy
don't-
the
yeah,
food
they
and the
don't scan your
booze.
card. That's-
Because I was
Right.
wondering
Oh,
how
you
am I
can do
going to get my
booze?
1,000 pack of snack packs?
So
Well,
Sir Dirty
yeah.
said, yeah, you can get the deli and the alcohol.
Deli
but
and
you can't get
alcohol,
the-
huh? I
You
didn't know
can't get
about
the
that.
toilet paper and the water.
Okay.
Interesting.
I think
So my
the first
ass is going to
time,
be gross.
I
And
think
I'm
the first
gonna
time
be
we
hurt.
ate there, it cost us together for everything $4. or
Oh,
something.
yeah. Every
what about
date.
the cigarettes?
Every date, I'm going there.
I was a cigarette
Like, you know,
smoker.
chick,
That was my stop.
let's
I'd-
go.
I'd get my.
What do you
cartridge
want?
from
You,
Sam's
you
Club.
see all that? You can order any of it and as much as you want. You can order 20 yogurts if you want. I'll pay for it. No problem.
20 boxes is 20.
Did you
20
steal Spartan's
yogurts?
card or
Is that what you
something when
get
you went in
excited
there?
about?
What frozen
buffet.
yogurts? They're
They're
froyos.
broken right now. You have to wait till they fix the fucking machine.
Yeah, it's just like
Okay.
McDonald's though. Be
This
warned.
is the one that legit got me. The one that I got excited for. All right. When I saw that they had like 12 packs of Progresso soup for like $9 or something like that, or like
Less
$8.
than
It was like
$1.
$8. Yeah, and I was paying like $2 a can at Kroger, and I was like, "What the fuck, dude?"
Red, do you
Yep.
go to Costco
All
and
about the
Sam's
soup.
Club just to buy Progresso soup?
Hey,
No, because
No, he's
chances
never
are I'm
bought
not.
it.
you don't
I'm-
shame somebody for the
I-
reasons
I
they go to
don't
Costco.
do
/
that
Sam's Club.
because
That's a good point.
if I
That's
go to
messed up,
Sam's
Skillo. They
Club-
might have done that in your day and age, but not anymore. Not anymore.
Well, what
We
if
don't
all he
tolerate
wants is
that.
55 gallons
Not
of
anymore.
Asper wide and
Acceptable
Wonder
practice.
Bread?
I can't go to Sam's Club for one item, dude. I have to like go with like I needed like a $300.
Well, you have to buy a
budget.
pallet of each
Holy
thing.
shit.
Yeah.
$300.
Well, if they have they if they
need
have
to
like
If
a
you're gonna buy in
couch
bulk, you gotta buy in
TV,
bulk.
But yeah.
Yeah, if you want yogurt, you need a pallet of yogurt. If you
Pallet
want
of
oats, you
yogurt.
need a
Yeah,
pallet.
get your-
Take
your
Better
your
be
grain.
eating yogurt for every meal.
Gordon's is another good
Seasonal-
bulk spot.
Seasonal
Gordon's
stuff's
is a good
my
one, dude.
favorite, man.
You want
I've never
five,
seen a
Oh,
Gordon.
5 gallons of mac and cheese, you go to Gordon.
I was going to say, Baked, where do you buy your Werthers from? Do you buy them from Costco or from Sam's Club?
Werther's original. What?
Werther's or
You're
Boomer
always
Werther's.
I'm trying to think of what this Werther. It sounds familiar, but
Werther's originals. That's what boomers eat.
Werther.
That's what your
Chocolates,
grandma gave you your whole life.
It's the
Caramels.
candy.
caramels.
Oh, I hate those. No, thank you. And if I bought them, I'd buy them anywhere because they're
Your
everywhere.
Hershey's. Your
Yeah,
Hershey's
you can-
kisses.
ew, yeah.
My grandma would have a
Hey,
little
did you
Actually,
did you
probably
tell these
this.
guys about
the
the
little Hershey's kisses, isn't it?
the big ass fucking float you saw there? I think you took a picture of it, didn't
Bro,
Just
no, I
make the
didn't
cheap
show the
fucker.
group. They have a float that could fit the entire panel, maybe the whole float on it. It's like, it's probably 8 feet wide and probably 20 feet long. And it's just a big platform. It would never fit through some of the parts that are float, but it was huge. It was
you?
crazy.
Yeah,
An
it was
island.
like a giant flotilla.
This is
Yeah.
at Sam's Club,
Dude.
right? Sam's Club.
Wait
Yeah,
a minute.
it's-
We
yeah.
talk
more
about that
like
float down, and we talk about an island that always reminds me of Bad Bunny.
Dude,
And
I
the fucking death
Oh, yeah,
march from
true.
hell with that fucking two-seater.
I'm
really
thinking of
want
all
to
of us
stop.
on a float throwing pre-rolls like out at the crowd.
Oh
One.
my
Mardi
god.
Gras.
That would be
Legendary.
great. That would be great.
We could
the-
throw
the
them
reason that
cops
I-
that were
the-
trying to catch us.
The reason I brought up that the field trip to Sam's Club was that they let us know how they drug test, and that you have to have clean Pete to get a job
Oh.
at Sam's Club.
In
So-
elementary school?
No, like this was
Big
like
on
no, it
Derek.
wasn't elementary. This was like
Becca.
this was like middle school or high school. It was-
They used to assume we were criminals by the age of
Did
4.
you say you needed clean pee?
I remember having
Clean Pete.
Dare
clean
in
piece of
4th
Sam's
grade
Club, yeah.
and being like, "Why are these cops talking to me? I've
Because they
I've
wanted
no
you to narc
interest right now
on
in
your
drugs.
parents.
I'm trying to
They want-
collect."
But they had
Pokemon
like
cards.
401k. I think they had a 401k match. They had like some decent stuff. I mean, it was solid.
Oh, they
Corporation
What are
work.
they doing with your pee, Rad?
Oh,
They
Costco
remember
and
the whole
Sam's
I
thing.
Club.
don't
One
get
of the
people on
best
P
places
anymore.
to work.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, true.
It must have made a huge impression for you to remember the whole pitch and everything.
I remember. I mean, yeah, I remember
He
the
was
thing pretty good.
impressed.
It may
Yes.
have been.
He still has his bottle of piss.
It may have even been a year or two after I graduated high school where it was like. a
Were you
field trip
approached
for
about
the-
offering a sample while you were there for some poor fucking bastard who got called
Yeah,
in? because he had a
Red,
piss
yeah.
You don't
can
want my
out
sample.
Howard
You're not gonna
John's.
pass as my
You know,
sample.
Come
You're
to
not
think
gonna
of it, I
fuck you
just
on my
travel
sample.
around with a bottle of
We're
piss
thinking
just
it was
in case
kind
you
of
need
crazy
one.
they would say that to a kid, but Red was probably showed up dressed like he is now, with long ass hair.
No,
I
like
had
the
a
Probably
Chewy.
smiling
nice,
a little
I
bit
had a
like
nice
weed.
presentable haircut as an 18-year-old man.
You probably
And
smelled
Bill-
like patchouli though.
Were you
and,
wearing shoes?
Brookfoot.
It smelled
Hey,
like patchouli.
I'll have you guys know that you're talking to a valve specialist. Red knows how to dress up and
Yeah,
guess
he's
up.
a-
Yeah, yeah.
hold on, he's a valve
Hey,
expert.
hey, now, hey. We can-
This man
This
works
man
on
can work a
valves.
valve, I'll tell you what.
Valves worth more than your kidney.
All valves,
Yeah.
baby.
Okay,
You got to dance like a butterfly valve.
sting like a valve.
Sting like a needle valve.
Yeah, needle valve. Yeah, those are stingy.
Dare inspired me to do drugs too. They were like, if you do these drugs, it's going to be the best thing
I
ever.
double dog dare you.
So don't do them. I'm like, okay, I won't.
Like, I want to see that crazy lion dancing around that you
I
told me
feel
you're
like-
gonna see.
I feel like
You
Dare
remember the
didn't
drunk
prevent me.
goggles? You put the goggles
Oh
on.
yeah,
you're
that
like,
was fun. I was
I've
like,
been
this is
drunk
what
a lot.
drugs are like.
Like-
Dude, I don't need these stupid goggles. What?
I think Dare just breaks everybody's trust and authority more than anything because you find out they're a bunch of liars,
Thank
and
God.
then you don't trust anything.
It
from
made
the
me
government.
curious in anything, dude. You know what the first thing that I smoked was? Mom, you hear this one? Coffee. Who
What?
suspected that one? Coffee beans,
What?
dude.
You smoked 'em?
Coffee. Good old fashioned coffee grounds.
Caffeine,
They were
no, that might-
there. Yeah,
You
I don't
smoked
know.
them?
Having
I remember that if
Beats
you had
me.
coffee
I-
beans in your
coffee,
locker at
dude.
school,
We
your
couldn't
locker would get
access
searched for
cigarettes.
drugs.
I really like caffeine, so I don't know.
We
What was
made
it?
our own. It's kind of delicious. It was all right. Made our own. Fucking like not even good rolling paper, man. I'm talking like a printer paper. Like, oh yeah, like good old
Not
practically
Matrix.
card
What?
stock. And you got I
Little
mean, you
hard,
need a
little
filter,
hard.
right? So you pack the filter, wrapped it up with
Oh.
some coffee filters, of course. Well, those are filters. So 3 or 4 coffee filters on there. Yeah, I
Okay.
mean,
I've
you know,
never heard of this.
Engineer.
young
And
young
you lived,
young
obviously.
testosterone, a bunch of hockey,
lived,
hockey
obviously.
players, you know, young testosterone. I
Right.
mean, we
Oh,
tried
red.
the ragweed, right? The old ragweed. It was weed, dude. It's called rag. It was ragweed. Dried
What a
ragweed.
way
to end
It
the
smelled
show.
like shit.
I was.
None
We
of
gotta
this
get our
stuff.
own
Guy,
shows.
dude.
We had a website
Alright,
called
guys.
Arrowwood, and you
Hold
could go
on.
look up stuff.
I gotta
time to
I gotta wind her down
Time to
so I
go.
can play the outro here. Does anyone have anything that they desperately must say before we close the show? We're already over time.
Thank you for hanging out.
Catch us on Polarity Science.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you
Catch
very
me
much
at
for
the
joining us.
H-Stream
I saw a
event.
lot of new names in chat. Appreciate you guys for joining us very much. Shout out to Dick's Medibles, our sponsor for the show.
Yeah, man.
Check you guys. We're gonna do a wake and bake. So
Wake and
the
bake
next
Saturday
show
morning,
will
9
be
a.m. Eastern
Saturday.
Standard Time.
I bought my very first thing from Sam's Club. It was a trampoline.